Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Animecast. My name's Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
And today's episode is a discussional podcast episode. We'll talk about some news that seems important to us, dive into our community, answer a few questions for our community members, and we'll also do some first impressions because, yes, it's time for us to, well, at least for the podcast, talk about some fall shows. It's been a weak season. I mean, there's a few in there that I suggested to you at least that were like, okay, I kind of like this, but nothing like totally blowing you away, I'm guessing, or...
No, not really.
Nothing that you're like clamoring to check the next episode. I did check with Chris before the podcast, asking him if he got a chance to watch the Chainsaw Man movie, Reze arc. And he broke the news to me about something that I forgot. You've never watched the first season. And I'm like, oh, that's right, huh? You started though, right?
Yeah, I watched the first
You just
episode.
didn't like the whole poop thing.
No, that was just my excuse to not continue it.
You don't know. It's not the eat the poop thing. It's that she didn't flush the poop. You didn't like the fact that power, in order to exert her authority, does not flush. That's an old joke for the people that have been around for a while. This big, I think it was like a title for one of our podcasts was like power doesn't flush or something like that.
Yeah.
It was dorky. But anyway, I did watch the movie. For those that are podcast only and don't actually go to the YouTube channel, shame on you. I did go to the theaters. Big shock here. It was actually in the local theaters. Like, I didn't have to drive for, 8 hours total, movie included. That's 10 hours I have to dedicate. It was actually somewhere nearby. And I immediately went down and I really enjoyed it. It was a really, really good movie. I was telling most people, at least like a very summed up version of what I thought about it in my video. What I was telling people is like, if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, you've watched it. You don't need me to tell you. If you are like lukewarm on the original first season, go watch it because it was massively better. I feel like than the original series. Like it was a big step up. Like the story itself is very like self-encompassing. It's Reze's arc. It's what it says it in the title. It says Reze's arc. But like the animation, the action scenes were so freaking fun, dude. They're just absurd, like super absurd stuff. The character stories and everything was great. The only thing I would probably say is that if you're lukewarm on the series or if you had a bad experience with the first season, like I said, go watch it because you'll probably like it. The beginning of it is a little weak. Like there's a build-up point. There's like a segment between the end of first season to when Reze's arc really kicks up that you're going to have to sit through. I tell people once the fireworks go off, it doesn't let go. You'll see some fireworks, and once that goes off, the movie does not let go. It's super good. But I really enjoyed it.
Because Reze was probably the one character art that I was like, I like her, right, type thing.
That was why I started reading the manga, because everybody was saying the next arc's so good because this character. I was like, okay, I read a little above it.
Is she good?
Yeah, I was saying because I read the manga up until I'll just say there's like this place where they're doing training. That point in the movie, there's this place where people are doing training. I read up to a little bit after that point. I didn't actually finish this arc in the manga. I felt the movie did a much better job of selling her as a character. Because I felt like when I read the manga, I didn't really feel like a connection. I just felt it was Denji being Denji. Denji likes her because Denji's kind of sex deprived and kind of wants that attention. He's liking it. He's getting something he's finally wanted this entire time and he wants it. But I liked Reze. Like they sold me in the movie. Like she just... It's the Seiyu, dude. The Seiyu nailed her character so well. They extended a few scenes, especially at the school, that really kind of sold her and his relationship. It's just, overall, the movie was just phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. And I got to go there and watch it pretty much by myself. I looked at like the pre-scheduling, like I did the whole booking online, and there was like 3 other people like already like planned out on the map, and so I select this little spot over here, get there, and there's like nobody there. It's like even when I walk to the theater, it's like, I don't know if you've been to that theater. Mm-hmm. Like I went to that theater and I
went there for the Stitch movie.
Yeah. I went in there and it's like, there's nobody at the front. And so I'm just walking in going, okay, where do I scan my QR code they gave me when I booked? And I go up to the counter and she's like, yeah, I'm here for a movie. It's like, which movie? And I'm like, Reze. And she's like, she just looks at the QR code. She doesn't scan or anything. She just looks at the QR code. Yeah, you can go. And I'm like, okay, where? oh, there's 7 over there. Like, what is this place? I could have legit just walked in and gone into a theater and they probably wouldn't care. But no, when I sat down in that theater, in that room, I'm like, okay, so this is why we don't get anime movies over here. It was one of those things of like, yes, finally an anime movie is near us. And then I get there and I'm like, this is why there's no anime films here.
I think that's movies in general. I mean, even if you go by
Plus
there,
I was subtitle and the dub probably did better.
Even if you go over there at night, the parking lot is a little bit full, but not really all that full. I mean,
see, I haven't gone to that theater
not since when I first moved here, and they were packed. Those cars were going all the way around front.
I think the last time I went there was, I think they went there with a family for like a Zootopia or something like that. It was just, let's just go do something, and it was pretty packed at that point. Not like massively packed, but again, I think it's anime movies. But yeah, I think in general a lot of that stuff's going downhill, but I think it's a lot to do with probably Sony Pictures, the reason why it was over here. Because I'm now that happened, I'm like actively checking to see if anything else pops up at that theater. Because like I said earlier, not having to drive for 4 hours is great. Haven't seen anything since then. Like Virgin Punk that came out here recently. The I don't think the Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid was on there. Like nothing's popping up. I don't think the Demon Slayer was over here. So, and that would have been nice to watch that one too. I don't know. Maybe I just need to keep an eye on Sony Pictures specifically, and maybe when something pops up again, because I think Virgin Punk is G Kids, so that explains that. We'll see. Anyways, that was fun. Anything else that happened here recently of news that's important that we should talk about? I complained on a video about CBR bashing Day Live creator. Did you see that video? You like Day Live.
Yeah.
What would you think about a journalist deciding to wrongfully accuse the Day Live creator for plagiarizing Bleach? Have you read?
Okay, help me get the logical
context. Context. No, somebody sent me, because I usually ignore CBR. I don't know if you know what CBR is. It's a website that does like, media stuff like that. It's like
sounds
Kotaku.
like a hit.
Like a Kotaku. Every single time I see a CBR title, it's always super massive clickbait, and I usually just roll my eyes and move on. But somebody linked me, and I'm like, okay, I'll click on it. It's like the Kotaku of anime, and I click on the damn article, and the moment I seen the title, I was like, you better explain this to me, because the title is legit. A light novel officially plagiarized Bleach, and now it's getting an anime. That's the title of the article. This article is claiming they officially plagiarized Bleach. That is bold. You better have some evidence, because that is defamation if not, right? I read that article, and I'm guessing the title was probably created after they wrote the article, because the article itself, it barely explains it. Did you ever look into anything else that the creator has done? Specifically King's Proposal. So King's Proposal, this is what I kind of explained in my video. So slight spoilers here. This is pretty much like a vague run through of what happens in Volume 1. And this is getting an anime, so if you care to not get that spoiled, there you go. It opens up. It opens up with this guy. He comes across this girl that's dying. She's just bleeding out. And he thinks that she's dead at first, but she's so beautiful. He falls in love the moment he sees this gorgeous woman laying on the ground. And as he's staring down at her, suddenly out of nowhere, he gets impaled, and he collapses next to her. And it seems like in her dying breath, she reaches over, and I think she kisses him, kisses him, and says, "I'm sorry that I'm going to get you wrapped up in this. I give you my world," or something like that. Then suddenly, he passes out. He wakes up, and he's in this extravagant room. And it's beautiful, and it's very rich looking. And he goes out the door. He walks out this door trying to figure out where the hell he's at. And when he opens the door, he just shows up in the middle of the street. And he looks back, and the room's gone. At this point, he realizes he's not in his body anymore. He looks down, and he's got jugs. He literally became the girl. He ends up bumping into the maid of that girl that was dying. And that maid, assuming it's her because it looks like her, brings him in, and then they get explained at that point that the maid explains to him what happened was that she was probably dying, and since he was dying as well, she probably used a fusing technique. It's a magical spell that will fuse two beings into one, and since her body was the least damaged, he now has the appearance of her. But they've fused together. The two of them has fused together. So you'll get this over time as the story goes on, kind of find out she's the most powerful mage of the world, and that she is actually the headmistress of this magic academy. And so he starts going to that magic academy, and eventually you start to learn about it being attacked and everything. It eventually builds into like some crazy story about like a future self that shows up that's trying to destroy the world, and that she's actually created the world that he's currently in because she's that OP. But anyways, what if that, now that you have that context, what if that sounded like Bleach?
Rukia on the ground and Ichigo walks up to her.
The power exchange.
That's about as far as you go.
That was all he cited. All that he cited was that Rukia gives to Ichigo her powers, and that's it. And I'm like, but she fused the two bodies together. It's not like he has her powers. They're one being right now. And then it's talking about how, like, it's the biggest sin of Bleach is the fact that Rukia, you've probably heard this argument before, that Rukia was like this weak person for the longest time, that he stole her powers and he became the hero and put her to the backstage. And I'm like, that doesn't even apply to this show, because King's Proposal, she's a world creator and a world destroyer. She is mad OP. Like, yes, technically he's in her body and he's using her body, but whenever there's a difficult situation, she takes over. Like, there's this one point where this guy comes to attack her and he doesn't know what to do. He's panicking. And suddenly out of nowhere, it's like this, almost like her spirit comes forward and says, "Don't worry, we got this." And it's almost like she takes control at that point. She literally, to fight this guy, she takes the world and bends reality, making the skyscrapers come together like teeth that crushes this guy. As she's telling this dude, "Bow to me, I will let you become one of my brides," or something like that. I was like, she is insane. This isn't a Rukia take the backstage. She's, again, a world destroyer and a world creator. But yeah, like I said, that entire article, the only thing I found in it that is at all like plagiarizing, if you want to call it that, is they were both. Rukia was the one that was wounded. Ichigo wasn't. He was trying to find his.
No,
he was trying to protect his family.
Their point was that the ultimate sin of keep making it to where Rukia was weak the entire first 3/4 of the story.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, when she finally breaks out of it, she's super OP. Yeah, I guess, but I think that was an interesting aspect of her character. I mean, now I wish that he had made it more apparent that no, she has the potential to be very powerful,
yeah.
But that was not even talked about up until the point in which she reveals her Bankai, which was, I still think, one of the most impressive set of panels in that.
Yeah, that was really good in 1,000 Year Blood War.
Yeah,
he finally showed that off. It
well,
was pretty awesome.
In the I don't think I've seen it in 1,000 Year Blood War, but I did see it in the actual manga, and it was absolutely a stunning set of panels.
It was a big moment, or at least if it's the same spot in 1,000 Year Blood War. The moment that she finally reveals that, anyways. But yeah, like I said, I think I literally said in my video, I hope you get sued, because this isn't clickbait. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why I made the video. Like, I've seen CBR clickbait all the time. People just like post these little images that they get from like Facebook or whatever CBR site. That's just the stupidest comments that are never true. It's just a bunch of clickbait. This is defamation. The fact that they are claiming that they plagiarized it. And I'm like, this story isn't Bleach. None of this is Bleach. It doesn't even follow the same concept here. Ichigo goes back to school, and every now and then, she shows up and says, "There's a hollow. You got to go kill it because you have my powers." And he'll go over there and beat the hollow. He's going to school. This guy, he's having to play her role as the headmistress of this academy, and he's learning about magic. And there's the academy itself is under attack, whatever. But it's mostly a daily life type of story. It's just the cute girls that are around him. And oh yeah, by the way, his sister, apparently his long lost sister, is in the academy, and she's trained to be a magician. She's madly in love with the headmistress. It's not even Bleach. None of this is Bleach. You can say it's because she bestowed power upon him because it opens up with her. But even Bleach doesn't open up with her. It's like in the first episode, yes, but it doesn't open up with that. It's stupid. Anyways, screw CBR. This piece of trash site. What else? Medi stuff. That was kind of interesting. I don't know if you watched my video on that one, but Medi in Japan had pretty much done this big, massive proposal to tell essentially the government that they want to get more funding from the government of Japan to sort of support the industry. They gave 5 principles of their proposal. Is support on a large scale, long-term and strategic basis, support efforts created in Japan and deliver to the world, do not interfere with contents of work, deliver support directly and transparently, and prioritize challengers. The idea here is that, obviously, what is one of the consistently growing medias or elements in Japan right now is anime. Like anime and video games is like the only thing that's like projecting up in industries in Japan. Everything else is collapsing. Like cars, electronics, and all that kind of stuff, they're all going downhill. This is the one thing that's steadily rising. And so essentially the media is trying to tell the government, hey, here's these proposals. We want to support the industry. We want to give them everything that we can to support them, money, different, support measures and whatnot. But the thing that I think that a lot of people are not getting correct out of this whole news bit is specifically the third bullet point. Do not interfere with the content of works. In that proposal, that specific bullet line, they're talking about the idea that the government itself is going to be supporting these industries now. There even was later on, one of the parties proposed that they give like 100 billion yen to the industries. They want to inject as much as they can to support these entertainment industries in Japan, and they know what comes with that. When the government supports something, what typically happens? The government wants to mingle. They want to meddle in with there. They want to change things. They want to go, why don't you create this kind of stuff? Stuff that, for example, the government could say, make more things that, and this is like the most least toxic of anything they can do. Make more things be pro-Japan and, be like a soft power kind of thing. Make us look really good. Hey, this manga right here has a presidential character that is, very similar to one of our political figures. Let's not make them look so bad. They will meddle in there to make them look better, the country look better, or again, what most people's mind goes to is censorship. This bullet point is specifically saying you will assist the entertainment industry. You will give us different things like help with, training translators and whatnot. But don't mess with it. Don't tell the creators what to do. Let them keep doing. And it makes sense, right? Why is this industry growing? It's doing something right. So they don't want the government to mess with it. What everybody gets wrong with this whole news, with this Medi proposal, is they're all saying, oh, it's them saying they want Westerners to stop messing with it and Westerners to stop interfering with creative works. No. Nothing in this Medi proposal, wherever you guys are reading this right now, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are covering it this way, nothing in this proposal says anything about restricting Western localizers, governments and whatnot. Why? They can't. The Japanese government, Medi, cannot restrict other countries from censoring stuff if they import it. You can't tell another country your laws don't matter because Medi proposed something. This is, again, strictly Japanese government. They don't want the Japanese government messing. Because I think Cool Japan had a lot of... The Cool Japan initiative, which was like... What was it? It was here recently. I think it was in the 2010s. The Cool Japan initiative in Japan was this idea of trying to make that expansion. And there was a lot of that happened with that.
Oh, really? The
government got involved, misappropriating funds. And there's a lot of stuff in here that has to do with that. That's that whole deliver support directly and transparently. There's a reason why that bullet point's in there. They want to make sure everything is very clear what they're going to use their money for and their support of the industry. Because they're obviously seeing that there is... Especially, I think, again, with the Cool Japan, I'm pretty sure this happened with that. The funds that were being injected into the industry for that whole project was getting caught by middlemen. People were soaking up, the producers or whatever, were soaking up that money, and it wasn't getting down to creators. It wasn't getting down to animators. They want to do that this time. They want all that stuff very clear. That way it gets where it needs to go. Everything in this proposal sounds super good. I just hate the fact that the only thing that a lot of people caught the attention of was the no interference with creative works and people saying that that meant Westerners. It's not. There's a lot of good stuff in here. There's a lot of really stuff that I hope that works out well because it's going to really help this industry because they're more than anybody else aware of the fact that a lot of what's affecting the anime industry right now, entertainment and gaming, is the fact that they're not thinking very future forward. And the industry itself can collapse at any moment. The studios are having problems, obviously. They're overworked. A lot of this animations and whatnot's going overseas. South Korea, other Asian locations are injecting money into it more than in Japan. And what does that mean? A lot of the money is going right back into those other countries. Everybody's making money off of anime except for us, basically, is what Japan's saying. Everybody's making a lot of money off this stuff except for us, and that needs to change. And I'm all for that, because I don't want... I've said it for the longest time, especially with the animators. Why... I want to... every time I think about this, I always forget about who it was. I remember there was a diet meeting at some point. They had this whole speech that was done, and this guy literally says, why is it that you have all these animation studios and producing, you have so much animation coming out of here, and none of those animators are here? Like, all this anime is being made, and it's not being made here. Why is it that somebody in another country can animate your shows and get paid more than people in our own country? They're exporting all... Like, I think I've recall hearing that there's the case where a lot of animators are leaving Japan so they get paid more to do it. I don't blame them. If my job was an animator and I was getting barely paid anything in Japan, I would go overseas. If that's what they want to do and they want to be able to live off of it, not worry about paying their bills. Anyways, good stuff though. It's good stuff. I hope that it all works out.
I can see that government subsidizing it could actually really work out well, especially with the possibility that their economy is on the hooks right now. So anything that could help them outgrow their debt would probably be absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Was there any other news that you've seen over the last 4 weeks, question mark?
No.
5 weeks? Let's get into some first impressions. Chris was really eager to talk about some shows last time. I'm like, no, Chris, we're doing reviews this time. You gotta wait until next time. But now it's finally time. It's finally time. I already did Reze. We can skip that. Do you want to talk a little bit about May I Ask for One Final Thing?
Well, if you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome. I mean, but like I said, I only watched the first episode and I dropped it real fast. So you were telling me that it's actually might be worth it. So
I did not say that. you lying sack of crap. No, I was telling Chris, like, there's one thing that's like, that might be cool if they execute on it, but at the same time, that's usually something I don't like. But no, for those who don't know, it's about Scarlet, and Scarlet is like set to marry the second prince, and just like typical villainous type of stories, at some point they're in the ballroom, and the second prince just goes, "Oh, I'm actually gonna get with her instead, and Scarlet, you should be tried for all of your horrible things you've done to her. She told me you bullied her at school and everything like that." And Scarlet pulls on the glove, straps on the gloves, and goes, "All right, can I ask for one last thing? Can I punch this bee?" And she proceeds to clock the chick. Like, she's sitting there snickering too and everything. You can see that whole, like, yeah, she's manipulating the prince or whatever kind of thing. No, she just clonks him. Like, literally how I want every single one of these villainous types of stories, this guy or not, I always want to open that way now. But yeah, she proceeds to, like, use her time spell abilities to basically go around and just beat the living crap out of every single baron and duke that's in the room, and then finishes off by punching the second prince. But yeah, you find out that, yeah, she was horribly treated by the second prince. He was just a dirtbag, and she's seen all the corruption, everything about everybody around her. So they all deserved it. They all deserved it. But it kind of turns the whole thing about, like, getting into what the second prince himself, who was giving him the power that he had, because the idea was that he was going to take over the throne from his brother. It seems like the first prince really likes Scarlet, sees her as like, he has like a book that's like for animal watching or whatever, bird spotting, animal watching, and she's in it. Like he finds her entertaining, and he just likes watching her. So if she punches something, he just finds a massive kick out of it. But it's like the two of them trying to figure out who is working with Kyle, and basically just uprooting all the corruption that's in the kingdom itself because Julius knows it's there. No, I was on board. What I was telling Chris was that after the first episode's phenomenal. Like if you don't watch it, like I recommend everybody watch the first episode. It's just so fun. It was so well put together. It starts off with the punch. It goes into the backstory to see why she was so horribly treated, and then it goes right back into her basically finishing everybody else off. So you get that sense of what she's been through. The problem was that after the first episode, it was like, it's like, okay, it's like that after that initial like, holy crap, this is so good. It's just like, yeah, she wants to punch somebody again, which is fun. Like, it's nice to for once have a main character where everybody else is like, but we got to get the evidence, so we got to look into this, and we got to, no, I'm just going to punch him. But no, you shouldn't do that because they got, no, I'll punch them too. Like, she's always just so matter of fact, I'm just going to punch him. And again, seeing the prince react to all that stuff is funny. But it never really did anything like that grabbed me ever again after that. I like her personality and everything, don't get me wrong, but there was only one other thing that kind of had a little bit of hook there, and was really the true identity of the guy that the second prince, or the woman that the second prince was with, the one that was replacing Scarlet. They're getting a little bit in the idea of her possibly being from somewhere else, and I'm like, okay, could it be an isekai thing or something like that? Maybe this is the perspective of Scarlet, and she's a character in a isekai world that an isekai comes into. That would be interesting if it actually gets to that stuff, but I'm not really sure if that's the direction it's going to go. But I'm not sure if it's worth sticking around to check that stuff out, because like, it's just not that great. It's fine. Like, the show overall is fine. It's like a 5 or a 6 for me right now. So I'm just not like, I gotta watch next episode. Holy crap, another one popped. I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm not excited to check it out. But you liked the first episode at least, right?
Yeah, it was fine. It like I said, it just that one. The way I put it was, it's a one-trick pony, and I didn't see anything past that one trick, and so because of that, it was like, I'm not feeling this, and that's when I went on to other shows that I was more interested in. I did check this out because I wanted to see if it was going to do something with that one trick, or if it was going to be just simply that, and that's what it was. I
don't want to say for sure quite yet, but it is pretty much what we were thinking. It's literally that whole, like, somebody made that first chapter like this, and it's so damn good. But I don't know if they actually had plans of making any more than that. Like, this is like a perfect one shot. This is a legit perfect one shot. And it should be, the title of the book, sure, the one shot should be, all villainous isekai or villainous stories should open this way. Literally every one of them. It's all right though. I'm very struggling if I'll keep watching it. I think one of my favorite shows right now, since unfortunately Chitose is in the Ramune bottle, is delayed. I've actually been really liking Chitose is in the Ramune bottle. That one, we were kind of wondering if it was going to be sort of like I didn't get a good first impression from the PVs and everything, because it felt so like, this is the perfect guy. Everybody loves him. He's got the harem from the first episode. And yeah, there's some people bad-mouthing him. But I think the thing that I was wanting the most going into it was like, okay, good, that's fine, but I hope that somebody breaks it, because I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy a show about a perfect guy with a harem. I actually really like what they're doing with the show so far, because it's sort of established the idea that this is a guy that wants to do his own part in society. He's like, this is like something that he feels that he has to do. He's sort of a hero in his own right, that he doesn't like to be called a hero. People see him as a hero because he doesn't like saying no, basically. Whenever he sees a problem, he does sort of get himself involved with things. And what they've been doing so far with it is good. It definitely does have a similar feel of like romantic comedy Snafu, where it's the idea of like, it's a school and then some person has a problem, he kind of has to fix them with it. But so far, they've only technically done one story and they started opening up the next story. The first story was Kenta's story. Kenta was the one that was shut in. The teacher said, hey, you got to shut in. That's been shut in ever since like the third semester of last year or something like that. Can you help bring him back to school? And come to find out, this guy got rejected by this girl at this otaku club, and he hates Chitose because Chitose has everything. So there's like a jealousy aspect there. It's a lot to do with kind of showing Kenta that what he perceives the popular boy, which is Chitose, what he perceives the popular people is not really correct. A lot of what you romanticize or at least like falsely get from reading light novels and whatnot is not really true. You know, not all people are the same way. It's a lot of like, there's a lot of look into the psyche of these kids and what they're going through and struggles and overcoming those struggles and getting rid of like your habits and all that kind of stuff. It's some good stuff so far. I've really enjoyed it. All the girls are amazing. They're all fantastic. They did a good job of selling me every one of these girls. I'm really liking them so far. I'm not sure if I like Nanase yet. Nanase is the one that I'm hoping they sell me on, and she's technically the next story. Nanase seems like she's the only one that hasn't been fixed by him. It seems like that. Nanase wants him to be her fake boyfriend, or at least go out with him in order to protect her because she's being stalked. And that stuff's getting pretty heavy so far. But Nanase, why I say that is that just by looking at her, you could probably guess this. If you had to pick what Nanase is in Monogatari series, who do you think Nanase is? What does she look like?
Maybe Senjugahara?
Yes. Okay. She's a Senjugahara character.
I mean, she's coming off as the calculating character, so.
Yeah, she's very Nanase, as described by Chitose initially, was that she is the type that can look right through you, and she knows how to like hold her cards basically. She knows what to sort of open up with. She's very kind of calculative and closed off. You get the idea very quickly getting into her story that she wears masks. This is a girl that loves to wear masks and hide her true self. But no, seeing them interact when her story first started up, I'm like, I know it's going to upset some people, but she legit is the Senjugahara of this show, because why I say that is that she's gorgeous. She's hot. I would date her in a heartbeat. I would no hesitation. She's gorgeous. She's got a great personality. Would love talking with her. But I hate watching a show with that. Senjugahara is the same way. Senjugahara is hot. I would love to talk with her. She would be a hoot to talk to. But I hate watching a show about them. For some reason, it just doesn't work in a show. It's just so boring to watch them interact. But yeah, I'm hoping they sell me on her. And it's kind of getting into exposing her kind of insecurities and having to deal with, again, a stalker. Some of it legit seems like they want to R-word her. Like she's dealing literally with a possible assault that she could face. So it's getting pretty heavy, and that's the unfortunate thing, because the moment it got heavy with that stuff, we get the reveal about who is coming after her and what it seems like that person wants to do to her. Delays. I was like, you had me. You legit, this show is like hooking me. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot. And then out of nowhere, this has to be the show that's getting the delays. Of all the shows this damn season that I would easily be fine with not doing with any more of and having delays, it's this one. And it's the worst delay too, because they're delaying by 3 weeks. So more, I think it's 4 weeks actually. It's not coming back on until the first week of December. And you know what that means? No way in hell they're finishing it this season. They'll still have 3 more episodes. They'll get up to, I think, episode 10, I believe. And I think 11, 12, and 13 is going to be delayed until whenever they can get an opening. So yes, once that 10th episode airs, winter starts. And those TV blocks are locked in already. So they have to wait until, typically, they'll have to wait until the end of winter, at least, before they'll have an opening in a slot, and they'll put those 3 episodes in there. Sucks. I don't even know if I want to keep watching it, because I don't want to have a full season wait for the last 3 episodes. That's the killer. I'll probably watch it. Hopefully they'll have a good stopping point at 10. Hopefully whatever arc Nanase is hopefully into there, but I've been enjoying it. I would recommend it to you, Chris, but I'd probably wait until the full series comes out, and even then you're probably going to have a lot of other stuff to watch, because at that point, we'll be looking at freaking ReZero season 3 or 4 coming up. I'm not going to care about this show coming back. Anyways, what else do we have in here? Let's look at another show that you watched. You started Little Miss Vampires, right?
Yeah.
Little Miss Vampires Can't Suck Right. The show about a vampire in a classroom, and the classmate or guy that sits next to her discovers that she apparently sucks at sucking. It's got a cute start. The idea this vampire is like, it takes place in a setting where it seems like everybody's okay with having like supernatural beings in the place.
Yeah,
it implies that there's like a guardian there that sort of keeps order.
She's a kind of a Buddha type character type.
Kirimine. Yeah.
I think she said it was a guardian shrine or something like that. The goddess of a guardian shrine is, I guess, the way she is. But yeah, they implied that there's. I think that I've seen in the background they've implied a
robot.
Was there a robot?
There was he said that there's like spirits, vampires, and then robot. There was like a shot of a robot. I'm like,
yeah, I thought I seen
robot.
I thought I seen a Yukihime at some point too. So
yeah. But anyways, yes, Luna is our focus, though, because Luna comes walking into her classroom, and she is seen as, like, so cool. Like, she is, like, the epitome of vampire, and she comes strutting in the classroom, and everybody's like, oh, she's so cool. And then she sits down, and she's so super elegant. But no, they're caught together, or they both have to clean the classroom afterwards or clean the rooms. And as she's cleaning, eventually, she's making a mess. Like, he expects that she'd fly up and clean, like, this upper area, but she's just jumping. But anyways, he kind of sets her off to the side because she's making a mess. And she goes to the side and she starts just munching down on things. She's like, she got the massive munchies. And she's like, you've been eating a lot of snacks lately. And he realized that point, oh, she's eating a bunch because she's trying to keep her mind off of the fact that she's hungry for blood. And yeah, that comes to find out that she doesn't drink blood. She never drank blood because she's not good at it. And so he proposes to her, hey, why don't you practice on me? And so, yes, she proceeds to... He pretty much has her practice on his arm. And yeah, come to find out, she's really terrible at it. But, you know, she's getting blood out of there, apparently. And he really likes it because every time he chomps down on her, she's super cute and small. And he sees her as like a daughter or something like that. He's like a mama taking care of his child or whatever. And he just goes into bliss whenever it happens. And it seems like whenever he like offers it to her, he's more excited than she's about it. So she's like, it seems like you're more excited about this than I am. But yeah, then it kind of turns from there to... really getting into the idea that it seems like Luna herself has sort of pigeonholed herself into thinking that she has to look cool. Like, she has to be, like, this epitome of what a vampire should be because everybody expects her to look cool. So there is an element about her kind of showing her other side, showing that she is kind of silly and kind of klutzy and kind of goofy. And then it gets into, surprisingly enough, Otori, who is helping her out. He actually has his own problems with socializing with other people and standing out more. So it kind of gets into a lot more than I kind of expected initially. I originally came into it just wanting Luna because she's super cute. She looks like Mitsuki from Blue Archive, and she got that cuteness about her, and she's kind of a failure. Just practicing on her plushies at home. Super cute.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've gotten in the first 3 episodes is that she's just super adorable, chomping down on the arm, and she turns into that little chibi version, and you just kind of want to scrunch her cheeks a little bit. Then they got into the other character, the new characters. Sakuma found out about everything, and now she's exploring like Andrew had said, exploring that she can be a klutz in front of everybody, and now everybody else is interested in her, and that puts Otori in the spotlight, so he's kind of pulling away, and now Luna's chasing after him, saying, hey, why are you leaving me? That's about as far as I got. So
yeah, he's always been trying to help her, now finally she can help him. So they haven't got into yet how uniquely Sakuma can help out Luna. Or Ishikawa. There was
she was offering her blood as well, but
yeah. No, what happened is like one episode opened up where Ishikawa was trying to figure out, Luna Ishikawa was trying to figure out alternative ways of getting blood, because like, you know, they can't always do the arm. And so she was looking into alternative, like, what's the best places? Yeah, because I think it brought up because of the neck, because specifically the neck is dangerous, because if you do it wrong, you're going to hit an artery and they could bleed out. So she was specifically going, okay, what other than the neck and the arm, where else is a good place to get blood? And the search results came up with one of them being the chest. And she immediately, in her room, she immediately thinks of Sakuma because she's got some. So she's all running, Ishikawa-san, and it's just boring, and she's like, money. She can't do that. And then later on, they actually came back to that joke because, yeah, they were bringing up like the different ways of doing it. And yeah, one of the characters they recently introduced was Kusunoki. And Kusunoki's like, she's just kind of the type that wants to help people out, but she's really bad at like doing it without sounding really kind of mean. She's like, no, there's no way in heck you can do the neck. That's too dangerous. What other ways you can do it? And sure enough, she gets the same results, and it doesn't even show her screen because we all know what she's doing. She's looking up those ways. And then she just immediately looks over to Sakuma, and Sakuma's like, Iyo. It was like a legit, like, you got the approval. You could go for the chest. Come here, Ishikawa. Come on in here. Yeah, they show it briefly, like the little inner image that Ishikawa had, and it's literally like, yeah, it's like she's just feeding out the breast or whatever. It was good. It was good. But no, I was telling most people, it's like, I love this show because I just love Ishikawa. She's super freaking cute. I love her design. She's just a failed vampire and everything. But it's like, it's not a great show though. In the end, like, I would never like push people to watch it. It's really, if you like a failed vampire, it's there.
I mean, I would be in the same boat. It's not so much that I'd be like blasting it from the rooftops, but I do love the contrastive, how they contrast her really well. Her going from the cool collected to just goofy klutz in like 5 seconds. I just love how they pull that off.
And apparently I thought it was just like an artistic choice, but no, like she legit turns into a chibi self whenever she eats, because like there was this moment where they were walking home and there was a little bit of embarrassment about them both being under one umbrella. And at some point I think he was going to give it up to her or whatever. Either way, like she's like, no, you don't have to give me the umbrella. And she just turns into a chibi self and stuffs herself inside of his backpack. And I'm like, this girl's like super convenient too. You can just pack her away in your backpack whenever she's taking too much space up or something like that. It's cute. It was cute. No, I agree with you. I like that contrast. The moment that kind of sticks out to me was when that girl comes to the library, and I think it was in the second episode. She comes to the library and she opens up the door, and Ishikawa is sitting there on the windowsill, and she just looks so cool. She got the book in her hand. She got her leg up on the side there, and this girl just like freaks out the moment that she sees her because she looks so great.
I'm pretty sure that was Sakuma.
And it's legit, like, she got all these snacks and stuff. No, she wasn't there yet because she had the snacks there. Otori caught her and was picking up after her, and then she wanted some blood, and then Sakuma showed up, and then he goes to show her the marks on his arm, and she got the chip crumbs all over his arm and slobber and everything. He just got to clean up. Hold on a second, Sakuma. We'll show you. Because that was like, yeah, the reveal to Sakuma that's what they're doing.
Yeah, because Sakuma went over there and cleaned up the chips afterwards.
They eventually
I was pretty sure that Sakuma was the only one that was in that scene.
Yeah, she ended up spotting the snacks afterwards. But no, I do like the fact that eventually they do get into why she's so stuck on the call. I mean, you do get this sense it's because she's reading those vampire books, and so this is what she thinks. It actually got into how Kirimine, the guardian, she used those books to get Ishikawa out of being from a shut-in. She was actually a shut-in or whatever, and that was the book that kind of gave her the encouragement of becoming like the coolest vampire ever, and kind of gave her that encouragement, thus turning into this cool and never showing this, the bad sides of vampires, Ishikawa. It's got some good stuff in there. It definitely got some good stuff in there. I recommend it if you like failed vampires. It's no chibi vampire. It's no chibi vampire. I was kind of expecting eventually it would turn into more like a Interview with Monster Girls. I was actually surprised they didn't really. I mean, they've introduced some other Monster Girls and whatnot, but they've been kind of taking their time.
Well, I'm waiting for them to reveal that Sakuma is something.
No, she's just a cute human with big boobs. She's just a cute.
That can hit a ball and leave a big old black mark on the ground.
Okay, never mind. Shut up. Finally, Chris, ruin it for me. Ruin it for me. I will talk really quickly. I have been really liking Gnosia. You haven't got a chance to check that one out, right? Gnosia has been a big surprise for me. Not a really big surprise for me because again, I checked out the Steam page for the game that this is based off of, and it was really, very positive ratings on it. So I expected at least the source material was good. But I think they've been doing a really good job with the anime itself. Like visually, it looks really good. Like it has a very unique style to it. Very, very vibrant colors. I mean, all the character designs are super unique. But the animation's been doing really well with it. No, like overall, I've been really loving this one. I've been actually covering it on a weekly basis. For those that don't watch my YouTube channel, definitely if you're watching this show, check out my videos on it. I've been enjoying covering it. I think the thing that's been really hooking me is, it's obviously the concept here is that this guy wakes up from a cold sleep. He was apparently injured after this ship was attacked. And now that he's awake, he doesn't have any of his memories. And so he's then brought into this meeting room where he finds out that he's on this spaceship, and this spaceship cannot land at any planet because it has currently on the ship what they call a Gnosia. See, there's these alien beings known as Gno, and the alien beings, Gnos, they like to essentially infect other races, specifically humans in this case. They will find humans, they will attack the humans, and they will turn the human into a Gnosia. So they're basically an infected human. They have the appearance of what they were, and it seems like, as we find over time, all the memories and everything like that, because they have to, because they want to essentially keep, hide themselves in the human body. So the concept here is that since they can't land because there is a Gnosia on the ship, they have to go through this process of elimination to find out who is the Gnosia. And the way they do that is basically have these meetings where they come together, ask each other questions. Whoever seems the most suspicious, they will vote them out, at which point they will be put to cryo sleep. Once they're put to cryo sleep, this ship can then test the ship again to make sure there's no Gnosia on it, or at least not frozen, or the Gnosia is at least frozen. If there's any that's not frozen, that's Gnosia. They will have to go through the meeting again and then do another vote process. If they get to the point where there's only one human and one Gnosia left, and they haven't froze the Gnosia then will eat the human, and then they lose, and then the ship itself will blow up. So our main character has to figure out who the Gnosia is. Now the twist is that at the very end, he actually, at some point, gets given to him the ability to transcend time. Or death, I'm sorry. And what that means is that, yes, he ends up dying to the Gnosia, but he resets back to the point where he wakes up from the cryosleep. And then he has to go through this whole process of doing the meetings again and try to figure out who the Gnosia is this time, because it seems like every time he resets, he goes into an alternate timeline where there could be different people on the ship. Who the Gnosia has infected has changed. The Gno may have made more Gnosia, so you have like upwards of 3 or more that are actually not even human, and he has to the entire time figure out who that person is. What I've really loved about this is that, yes, I have a lot of fun trying to figure out who the Gnosia is. Sometimes it's pretty obvious, like they tip their hand a little bit too much. But I've still loved even those moments because there's still like a lot of things that I love having, like this question of like, okay, if that is the Gnosia, who will the Gnosia kill during the warp? Because every time they do a warp, the humans have to go to like get strapped down and they lose consciousness, but the Gnosia is able to move and they're able to kill a human. So every time a warp happens, somebody dies. Who would the Gnosia kill? Is the person they're voting out, is that the Gnosia? Will they win this time? There's like all these really cool questions that I have the entire time. And they're doing a really good job of evolving the formula too, because they'll add things like an engineer. What an engineer does is essentially they're able to pick one person during the warp to find out if they're Gnosia or human. There's a doctor. The doctor is able to pick one person that's in cryosleep, find out if that was a human or a Gnosia. Because if there's 2 Gnosia, they won't know if they froze one yet. There's these little like mechanics they're adding to it over time that's kind of keeping it spiced up. It's been really good. I've been really enjoying it. It's definitely not what I was originally expecting, which is like a They Were 11 situation, because there's a time loop aspect. It's just constantly flipping the script. It's constantly evolving the formula. But it's got those hooks in me. I'm enjoying the mystery of it. I think the only thing I would probably say that I would kind of wish is I hope eventually they do at least a 2-episode arc, because it does seem like it's doing very well of kind of, keeping them very self-contained episodes, which is probably a good thing. But I would like to kind of explain on one segment a little bit longer.
Actually curious as to the game. I'm going to have to look into it. It sounds a lot like the Salem game that I played for a little bit, that they just had all kinds of different, I guess, I don't know that, the little tidbit guys that are on the spaceship is kind of like that same concept.
Yeah.
What was that game called?
You mean like the Among Us?
Among Us, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was super excited about it for a while.
Yep.
Sounds a lot like those types of games where they're just having the meetings, and then and what you were talking about with like the engineer and all that stuff. That was stuff that was in like the Salem games, where they would do different. They could do different things during the night times.
Yeah, it's like a very popular like old kids game, Who's the Werewolf or something like that.
The Werewolf, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to say that the StarCraft games did it too.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I've been really enjoying it. Looking forward to more. And it got Kendra Suda. Kendra Suda is, you can guess it probably. Kendra Suda was introduced last episode, and I'm like, it was funny because the Kendra Suda episode opens up with this guy Jonas, and he's out in this VR. There's this big open field, and it's in a VR setting. And our main character Yuri, he comes walking into that area because they're supposed to go to the meeting. He just reset, and he's like, wait, they're going over there. I always go to the meeting when I first wake up. For some reason, this girl's running off to the VR place. He goes there. Jonas is laying down inside this tent in this big open field in this VR. And Kukrushka, which is the girl that's with him, she's off to the side. She's just making a little flower crown. And the moment he walks up, Yuri comes up there, and Jonas just starts talking about how, like, Kukrushka here is, just very beautiful. And she doesn't speak. And that's probably part of her beauty, is the fact that she never speaks. Because it's just like an old man once said, or a wise old man once said, that a woman is much more beautiful when they never talk, or something like that. I'm like, only Kendra Suda can say that and get away with it. Only Kendra Suda can say that line, and women will literally fawn over him. They will pass out. They will faint in front of this guy. They will get wet. Only Kendra Suda can pull that line off and not get in trouble. It's so great. Kendra Suda is so great. I've had literally, like, I guess 2 really great Kendra Suda episodes in the last 2 days, because Tojima wants to become a writer, which I guess we can get into. I want to make sure I get that one before we finish, because this is actually like legitimately left field for me, that I'm loving this show so much.
I wasn't expecting to like it. The very beginning of it, I was like, what in the world are you making me watch?
Yeah, I was like, oh, what did I text you at that moment? It was something like, I told Chris at some point, I'm like, okay, just so you know, here's a few ideas you want to check out. I'm like, you probably love Alma-chan, the Inexpressive Oota, Last Boss. May I ask for one last thing? I said, would love for you to watch an episode of Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. It's super fun. Like, it was literally like, I know you're probably not gonna have time for this, but if you could at least watch one episode so we can talk about it. And then
I watched the entire thing.
You actually watched the whole thing. I love it. Anyways, for those that don't know what Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, it opens up with a guy named Tojima, and from a very young age, just like a lot of kids, he watched Kamen Rider on television. Absolutely love this guy. He was like, oh my gosh, I want to be just like Kamen Rider. I want to fight the shockers and everything. And so he literally just spends all of his days, waking moments, constantly training, practicing his poses to become, transformation poses and everything. And yeah, at some point, there was some bullying that was happening at his school, where they faked him out to think that some girl was, hitting on him. But then it's like some rival school members came over to harass her, and he protects them. And that school ends up coming over to the actual school, and there's this big old, everybody shows up at the actual school itself, and they came there to get revenge on, for Tojima beating them up. And he proceeds to do his pose, and they just beat the crap out of him, and then they start dragging this girl away. And he hears the cries for her. She's yelling out, please help. And he stands up again, And he's like, I don't want to do this. He rips off his shirt and he has drawn on his belly the belt for Kamen Rider, does the pose again, and then proceeds to beat the living crap out of everybody before she literally gets creeped out by him and runs away, which kind of gives him a little bit of a complex. But no, it jumps forward to him and he's like, it was like 40, I think, or 30 or something like that.
44, I think is what he said.
Yeah, he becomes a middle-aged man. He becomes a middle-aged man at that point, and he's realized at some point, yes, Kamen Rider is fake. He's not delusional. He's come to accept it, even though he's trained every single day. He's gotten to the point where he can literally beat up a bear. But he's accepted that it's not real. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, it seems like some people are robbing stores dressing up like Shocker, which is the villain of the Kamen Rider. And he's like, wow, is it true that the Shockers are actually here? Nah, it can't be. But then, yeah, he's at a festival one day, and some dudes show up dressed up as Shockers, and they start robbing the place. And he throws on a mask from a stall to look like Kamen Rider, and suddenly he feels it. Like it's like this whole idea of like he's become Kamen Rider. He feels it in his body, and he proceeds to beat the crap out of all the guys and runs off. We end up finding out there's another person that's kind of similar to Tojima, and that is Yuriko Okada. She's a school teacher, and yes, back in the day when she was young, she dreamed that one day she'd become the hero, the warrior Tackle. And so she'd been training. And so she hates the fact that she finds out from the news that Tojima beat her to beating up the Shockers because she wanted to become Tackle and beat them up. So she's mad because his costume sucks. He's only wearing a mask. You're supposed to have a full set. She has a full set. So they end up bumping into each other.
I'm going to be honest. Okay. The first episode, I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, it was fun.
It was absurd.
But it was like, Tackle. when I seen the PV for Tackle, I was Tackle. Like, I got to see Tackle, and that was when it was all over because I
don't blame you because Tackle's amazing.
it was the through line was like, I actually kind of want to see where this goes from here.
It's the music too. Every time she just, and this is the great thing because again, what happens is that she ends up the Shockers are robbing a place again. Tojima gets there first, and so he puts the mask on, and she sees it from a distance, and she's like, "Hell no!" And she proceeds to go, her student, unfortunately, hold this, yanks down her clothes, rips open her shirt, puts on her costume for Tackle right in the middle of the street in front of this kid, and then it goes charging out there. And I love it because it always has her music playing. I am Tackle. And she just proceeds to beat the living crap out of everybody. Like just suplexing, dodging hits, taking the blows so that she can like use the force of it. And she just wrecks people. And yeah, in that situation, she proceeds to go over there, punch Tojima in the face before going after the Shockers. There's like an element
but that
here.
Was after like what 5 minutes worth of Tojima trying to fight Shocker by themselves, and the entire time she's wanting to get involved, but her student was confessing to her, and it was throwing her off.
That was
she kept
stupid.
going. It was so stupid.
That was stupid. I will say I hate that guy.
The student?
Yeah. Every scene that's his perspective, I hate. I'm so glad we haven't seen him in a while. And I'm saying that, and it's probably going to pop in the next episode. Watch it. But like those first few episodes, every single time it cut to him, like, oh God, dude. It's the problem with Asano is that he is sort of like, he's the male gaze perspective. What I mean by that is that like, he's the guy that it's almost like the writer going, oh my gosh, isn't she so hot? Isn't she so hot? Oh my gosh, the fan service is so great, right? And I'm like, you don't have to insert a character to tell me what I'm doing. Like, I don't need you to tell me that. I don't need you to tell me what I'm thinking about Yuriko. That yes, she's freaking hot, and my gosh, her chest or whatever.
She has ladybug underwear.
It's like My Hero Academia, the ball guy.
The God, I can't stand
it's him. It's that character. So anybody not watching this, if you ever watched My Hero Academia, the sticky ball guy, it's him. I hate those characters. I legit hate them. I don't need you to tell me how hot the characters are. I'm seeing how hot they are. Let's just play the show out. But anyways, yeah, it kind of evolves from there for them meeting Mitsuba and Ichio, which those are two brothers that one's V3 Kamen Rider, the other one is Rider Man. and they're basically coming together to fight what seems to be actually appearing in this world, kaijin or monsters and the shockers, and to actually beat them. What I loved early on about this show is that I think it does well to kind of play off the idea of what I'm getting a sense of is it almost feels like these individuals are so obsessed with the role of Kamen Rider and the world of Kamen Rider, even though it's fake, almost like they're manifesting it. It does give a sense that it's almost they're manifesting the powers and the spirit of Kamen Rider.
You know, I could go with you on that.
But then the monsters show up. So it kind of, will it be an idea the monsters themselves are also a manifestation of the story?
And that's where I would go with you on it, because I was trying to figure out, because the first few episodes, it was so right there on the edge of reality that I was like, you know, I kind of want to see where this goes. But the more and more that the episodes, the more and more we've gone down the episodes, do you remember that show that was it was one of the I want to say it was the Noitomina blocks that I had told you at the first few episodes was really great, and then they brought in the guillotine shark or something like that, and the
Samurai Flamenco.
Yes, Samurai Flamenco. It was like it was really good up until this point, and then it just jumped off the rails. This one is not so much jumping off the rails; it's just slowly dripping in a little bit more and more of, okay, are we really going down the route of these characters are actually becoming a part of the Kamen Rider series?
Right.
It's really
there's times where I almost kind of wonder, like, are they really even having these epic battles? Like, there's times where I kind of wonder,
crazy?
Is it ever going to cut over somebody randomly and they're just looking over and you see these people are just doing these like, huh, huh, but then it cuts back to their perspective and it's like, it's like, are they manifesting it? That was like the question mark.
Are we actually just looking at some adults that have third grade syndrome? I mean,
they're like a bunch of
Chunies. It's really, I really kind of am more interested in seeing where the outcome of this entire series is, more than actually the concept itself. I mean, it's fun. The characters are enjoyable, especially when we added the shocker female combatant. She was she's
a dork, dude.
I love her.
Yukarisu's a big, massive, flustered mess. I think Yukarisu does bring up some interesting question mark, and it technically is sort of followed up with Nako, the Yakuza guy. Is you do have like individuals who have become shockers, and it doesn't seem like they know when they do, and they just follow orders that the monsters want them to do without question. And so it does kind of beg the question mark. Do they have autonomy, or do they have to like follow this? It does seem to imply that if they don't do their role as a shocker, they can get liquefied. But like, can you fight back against that system? Does all shockers have to be bad people? And what makes a hero and what doesn't make a hero? I think one of the things I love most about the show, though, is I do love how, and this is an oddity, I know, it seems like everybody has like the most messed up backstories and so much tragedy in their lives, but it's always done in the most like comedic way with a punchline that's comedic, and it's like, it's so jarring, but it still works. Prime example is when Ichio and Mitsuba lost their grandmother or grandparents. Like this shocker shows up, robs them, and then as the grandma comes home and literally takes a hoe to the guy's shoulder blade, just jabs it in there and drags him out of the building. As they're leaving, a monster shows up and liquefies them and kills the grandparents. And it's like, it was so funny because this big buff grandma comes in, thwack, and drags this robber out of the house. And I'm laughing because this grandma's buff as hell. But then it like goes, wait, the grandma's dead. This is really effed up. Why did you make me laugh and then do that? Same thing happened with Nako's history. It's like the father is trying to make these stupid like muffins, so that, or not muffins, but taiyaki. He's trying to make these a stand, and he's want to make it successful so that mom comes back. And then out of nowhere, suddenly the guy has a massive debt, and he's becoming the dog to some chunky lady. And it's like, you're making me laugh suddenly. Why are we doing this? This is tragic. They're all like the most absurd backstories. The Ichio and Mitsuba's sister, which I didn't know they actually existed until her episode. It's like she's literally had no friends her entire life because Ichio is constantly wanting to be V3, and we're not even sure if he's actually V3 or not, if it's just in his head. They toe the line between like absurdity and like sad stories that it kind of just works for some reason. Plus, it seems like they're all like grown children.
Yeah.
Like, constantly, every time somebody wants to tell a backstory about the Shockers, Tojima's over there with, like, this massive, like, oh, yes, tell me about the Shocker story you have. Mitsuda's over here. I should tell you about the second part of my backstory.
Takeru is like, no, keep it quick.
Yes, like, you're really doing this right now? You're serious? Like, yeah, he shows up as Rider Man. He ties down the Kaijin. And then it was Yukarisu was like, "You're really dressed up as Rider Man. Why are you dressed up as Rider Man?" And he's like, "Oh, do you really want to know?" And yeah, she's just like, "So like, we really gonna do this right now?" The bad guy's right there. He's liquefying people. Is dorky. But no, I've been loving it. It's been super good. I'm actually Are you like even a Kamen Rider fan at all? I mean, have you ever watched much Kamen Rider?
Not very many. No.
I barely watched anything. Like, and so it's kind of a shocker that
I mean, it jumps around on the Sentais. I've caught enough of the Sentais just basically.
Yeah, I've watched Sentais, but I've never watched Kamen Rider. That's a sad thing.
Well, and that's the thing is they have a lot of the same tropes. And what my point was is that it doesn't really whether it's Kamen Rider or this or that. I've just been through enough of the content to actually understand the tropes that they're bringing up, and that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, I think that's sort of been the nice thing is like even though I don't really know much about Kamen Rider, I don't really feel lost.
No,
and I think it's just silly enough that I don't feel like I have to get the joke to really get the joke. Mm-hmm. Like it's explained well enough. It doesn't seem like they're going deep enough. There's probably still references that are in there that I'm like, anybody that's a massive Kamen Rider fan's like, oh my gosh, they actually brought that up, or they said that means this. There's probably still things I'm missing, but I'm actually learning things about Kamen Rider. Like, there's some stuff that's like, well, duh. Like, you would assume that V3 is probably a combination of V1 and V2. Makes sense. The story of Rider Man screwed up. Dipped the dude's arm inside of a freaking vat of acid. I like he had broke his arm.
But broke his other arm, his off arm, so that he doesn't lose.
Because you know how much I care for my brother, right? What about that was that you were caring for me? Well, you're right-handed, right? Thank you, brother. You're such a nice brother. So great. Dorky. Super dorky. I'm loving it, though. Really loved Nako's story, though. I was telling Chris earlier, I'm like, holy crap, I mean, besides episode 1 and every scene with Tackle, Nako's episode was, like, probably my favorite just because it was, like, Kendra Suda doing an emotional scene. It's literally like, it's like when your father cries. Like somebody that you never see cry or be emotional, like some tough person suddenly starts crying. That's Kendra Suda crying. So like hearing Kendra Suda play the role of this like Yakuza guy that just seen his father again for the first time, and he's just like, my father never gave up on that thing. You could hear that, like you could hear him just acting out that like cry that's building up in his throat. And I'm like, ouch, Kendra Suda doing emotional. I mean, he had an emotional scene in Orb here recently, but it's like rare to ever have a Kendra Suda moment where he's that emotional. It was good. It was good. He did a good job of it. Got me emotional. Got me. Kendra Suda got me. I won't say that's like the most well animated show though. I mean, the shot of Tojima winding up a shot that he used every 2 seconds was really good the first time I seen it. That first time when he's at the festival and he's like, and it goes, be rider. I'm like, oh my god, that was so freaking hype, dude. Like this build up. I'm like, it happening at the same time everything that's happening with One Punch Man going on. I'm like, I feel bad for you guys, but here's a One Punch right here. He does the better wind up with a One Punch and Kamen Rider. Yeah, they just keep reusing that. It's got a lot of action stills. They got some good bouncies whenever they need the bouncies. So there's a good fan service for Yuriko. Like there's so much spicy shots with Yuriko. They have a lot of fun with her. there's a little bit of it with Yukarisu.
Yeah, that we've got 2 fan service characters going now, so
Yeah.
there's plenty.
Yep.
And she, as a shocker, she's got that Harlequin vibe, guys.
I
know
like,
y'all are thinking about it. Yes, she has the Harlequin vibe when she has the shocker version.
she was pretty crazy in that room, that closet for a while there. Too bad again. Asano was ruining it. It does seem like they might getting into a training arc next now. So hopefully the training arc's not that long. They know they have to get better. But no, I highly suggested Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. It's easily, like I said before, the biggest surprise for me this season. I was not even expecting liking the show. I just fired it up and I'm like, holy crap, this is actually working. So I'm enjoying it. What else do you want to talk about? You did get a chance to watch Alma-chan Wants to Be a Family?
Yes, I have not gotten to Neon.
I just met her. And she's not a robot like you thought.
I seen Machina, so...
Machina, you didn't see Hana. You should have seen Hana then, right? Because I think Hana came for Machina.
Yes, Hana came in. And
yeah, she's the rough girl at school.
She's absolutely adorable.
But no, Alma-chan Wants to Be a Family. For those that don't know, it opens up with 2 mad scientists, very, very creative types that have made the perfect robot. One of them is a AI software specialist. The other is a mechanical robotics specialist. So one made the body and the other one made the mind, basically. And once they created this robot and tested out with a simulation, suddenly the girl says mom and papa. Like, she just assumes the 2 of them are mom and dad. And yeah, they have to proceed in order to keep it a secret that she's a robot or whatever, and help her learn more about the world and advance her. They have decided to go along with these whims and just be mom and dad taking care of their daughter as she learns about the world and advances everything. And it kind of just turns into sort of a mixture of Alma herself experiencing the world as a robotic girl, and the other side of it being mostly about the 2 doctors and the 2 scientists and how they find out over time they kind of like the idea, and even though they're pretty like standoffish about it at first, it does seem like the 2 of them do like each other and they do like the idea of being, husband and wife. Them constantly conflicted with that whole thing. And yeah, like Chris mentioned, Machina showing up eventually, which she's a robot that is created in order to, I think if I remember correctly, outplay Suzume, because the person that created Machina really likes Suzume. And so they have a little competition there for a while. Hana is somebody at Alma's school who's like very standoffish. Well, she wasn't at her school. She met her at some point. She's looking for her dogs. And so Alma helps her find her dogs. Anyways, yeah. Your thoughts? Oh, yeah. And by the way, what was it? Pooping ramen doesn't make you stronger? What was it? Was it pooping ramen? Something that she questioned if pooping would help out with. Pooping noodle or something like that.
Oh, that was something that the boys got her to say. I don't remember.
No, not that. It was when Alma and Machina fought each other. Enji was trying to get information from Machina who sent her to attack Alma, and she said, if you don't speak, I'll make your body poop something.
Yeah.
And Machina immediately goes,
so you didn't see
will
the
that make you more powerful? No, I did.
Because the episode after that was the explanation that Machina was...
Yeah, she goes to school and the boys were making her say crude stuff.
Right. Well, Machina was... Suzume made Machina. The other girl that was her kohai finished making Machina and did some upgrades to...
Oh.
And to get Suzume to notice her and add her as her lab partner.
And then she hates the fact that Enji's with her.
Yes.
And then Machina thinks that she wants to end everything, so she decides to blow herself up. And then Alma has to override it. Trying to save her body. Like she just leaves, because she leaves the body behind. But she runs off she has to leave with Machina's head.
This one is more just the cutesy, kind of raise your daughter thing. It's not really doing anything that I would say is super amazing. I just like the interplays, especially Alma. She sets everybody off. She just has this knack for figuring out how to get people to react in different ways. I love the kind of interplay that Andrew was mentioning, that between Suzume and Inji. They can't stand each other, but in actuality, they love each other. They're like two super tsunderes, and they can't come together because that would be acknowledging everything that they have been saying is a lie. I loved the just after the bath scene, Suzume comes out and Alma's noticing Inji is getting all excited about the smells and stuff like that. I absolutely busted up laughing on that particular scene. That was just too funny. But yeah, generally it's just family with a robot and
a Roomba.
And a Roomba. Because the Roomba is freaking amazing.
The brother.
And the Roomba is what? Her big brother?
Yeah, her brother. It was pooping pasta. I just looked it up. It was pooping pasta. He's like, if you don't answer my questions, I'm gonna make your body poop pasta. And immediately Makana's like, "Was that make me stronger?" He's like, "No, it won't." And then Alma's like, "Can you make me poop pasta?" He's like, "Shut up about this stupid pasta pooping. It's supposed to be a bad thing. You don't want that." No, I've been enjoying the show. I just find it wholesome. I think this is really one of those kind of like feel good, wholesome types of shows with every now and then some funny, goofy moments. I do like that it seems like a lot of the focus is on, these two individuals discovering over time that they kind of like each other and there's a romance between them. They just don't want to admit it. I do find a lot of the, learning process of Alma to be interesting as well, because it does get a little bit into having Inji and Suzume sort of having some logic behind what they're telling her. Like I like the whole scene where they sent her on that first mission. She had this one role that she had to do, and she goes out there to get like some ice cream or something like that. And at the end, it melts.
Helps the old man.
Yeah, she helps the old man. She's like, what did she say? That whole thing, like those are my parents. They're very confused about having me or something like that, but they're all right or something like that. This is like this guy that doesn't know knows Japanese, so he's all speaking English. They are my parents. They had me and they're very confused, but they are good people or something like that. The guy's like, oh, okay. Anyways, afterwards she discovers the thing is melted and thus she has failed her mission and she feels bad about it. And so you have that little moment of him saying, like life is all about failures and learning about those failures. It's a series of failures or whatever. So there's like a nice message behind there. Then, them going to sleep and him talking about the idea of sleep is known from some people as being sort of a computer's defragmenting. So it's you kind of breaking down the day or whatever. There's all like these nice little like moments of learning about life that they're kind of discovering and teaching to Alma, and Alma herself becoming more and more of a kid and enjoying life. It's been good stuff. It's not the greatest looking show, but it's got enough there to entertain me. The music is so repetitive, but I like it. Duke, 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 duke. It's like so catchy. It's so like basic. Whoever's doing the music there, I don't know if I ever want to hear their music again, but it's cute. I like it. It's only gonna be 11 episodes. I didn't remember that being the case. It's not a very long series. Anyways, Tatsuki Fujimoto. I was telling Chris earlier that I've been covering that show. I like it all dropped like 8 episodes all at once. For those who don't know, Tatsuki Fujimoto 17 to 26, it's like as the title leads you to believe, it's a series of one-offs that were wrote by Tatsuki Fujimoto, who's the creator of Chainsaw Man and Look Back. And so like every one of the 8 episodes are like different stories, and they're mostly all vastly different than the others. I mean, a lot of them do kind of cover like romance in some way. But for the most part, they're just kind of oddly different. So I decided, instead of doing a full review of the whole thing, I decided to do like videos on each one. And I've been really in love. I've been really enjoying them so far. The first one was super wild. It's like about like the planet's taken over by aliens, and the aliens are like, they've pretty much made mankind extinct. But then there's like these 2 humans that are actually living in this school courtyard as chickens. Because they put chicken heads on their head, like mascot looking chicken heads on their head. And the aliens don't even know they're human, because the aliens only like identify things by their faces. And so they just see chicken. They don't see human inside of a chicken head. They just see the chicken. So it's like them trying to hide their identity, and it's a little bit the alien kinds basically having just taken over human society. Like they came in, they ate all the humans, but they're like, hey, they got a kind of a cool setup here. Let's go ahead and just live as humans. And yeah, after humankind's gone. But yeah, it was a cool little story. I don't want to talk too much about it because they're like, again, I can literally tell you the whole story because it's like a single episode. Second episode was okay. Third episode was really fun. It's like this guy that's a student council president that's like wants to confess to his kohai, one of the council members that's been like his side the entire time. And it's like turning this whole thing about priorities. And that there's all these other things that want to like grab his attention, but he's dead set on that day. He's going to tell her that he likes her. And all this stuff keeps getting in his way. Even like the crazier later part, like a guy robs them and he literally is like, just here, have my uniform. I'm busy right now. I have to tell her this thing. It's super fun, super cute. The fourth one I was telling Chris is probably so far my favorite, and that's the Assassin Shikaku. The title is Shikaku, but it's like this girl that was like grossly abused by her mother, and she becomes like this crazy like skilled assassin, world-renowned assassin that can kill anybody, and she gets hired by a vampire to kill him because he's lived for like, I forget what it was, like multiple thousands of years, and he feels like he's done everything, so he's bored, so he wants to find somebody that'll kill him or find a way to kill himself. And so he hires her to kill him, and she obviously fails because she just like blows his head off with a shotgun, doesn't do anything. But then she like feels something for him, and it turns this whole thing about what love is and everything like that, which I thought was really, really cool. But she was crazy. Shikaku was really, really crazy. I think the other ones is a mermaid story. I forget what the other two were. One is the sister that's the demon lord girl that like this guy's taking care of that I'm really excited for. But they've been really good so far. Different studios doing different episodes, so a lot of them look vastly different, except for 2 and 3 is the same studio. But they're cool stories. Like Tatsuki Fujimoto himself is just kind of he thinks outside the box in a lot of cases. And so seeing these little stories, every one of them, I wish we could have full series of. I would definitely take a full series of Shikaku for sure. The 2 clucking chickens, I would love to like expand on some more, but in some of those cases with the one shots, that's what they wanted to say. And so it's like the whole, can I ask for one last thing? Do you really want to ask for more? Because you might careful what you wish for kind of situation. That was the punchline. They may not have really anything else to say. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I highly suggest it. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. And it was a full dump, like all 8 episodes. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. I've actually noticed something odd about that because there was a Sisters Artist one. I have noticed lately there's a lot of very mature shows dropping on Amazon, and I wonder if that's for a reason. Now, granted, I'm not saying that Crunchyroll doesn't have any nudity on their platform. I mean, they have the massage show this season, the one from was supposed to be on. It's on Ocean Vale, but the Anime Festa show of this season, I think it is. But it's like the one that just has the full uncensored. Crunchyroll has it. Crunchyroll's had things like, Takamine-san. They have nudity in there. They have uncensored shows. But I feel like there's mature shows, like not just like fan service. I'm talking mature shows on Amazon. Like last time, Panty and Stocking. It's a very mature show. Yes, it's cartoonish, nudity or whatever, but it's adult themed. It's not like, ooh, panty shot. It's like legit mature themes. And Tatsuki Fujimoto is another case of it. Like there is like, it's not fan service in Tatsuki Fujimoto. It's adult themes. So you do have like this one of the episodes is about artists, and one of the girls literally like lays down like, Titanic style, laying down fully naked, and they didn't hide any of it. Like it's
Really?
legit. She's just laying there fully naked, and the other girl's drawing her. It's a story about art and the body and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like the willingness for just like no like having the the portrait that's being drawn is like cleverly placed to where you don't see her body. It's just on display, and I'm like, that's actually not. It's not. Yeah, you can see it and go, that's hot or whatever. But it's mature, in my opinion. It's adult. And I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be something going forward that Amazon's going to be picking up things that are less less childish fan service, but more like mature kind of stuff. I don't know. It just seemed like a trend that it popped in my head. Not that I have anything to base that on. Anyways, that's my side tangent. Do you get a chance to watch Past the Monster Meat? I don't know if I put that in the list.
No.
I actually am really liking Past the Monster Meat. And you might actually like it too. It follows this girl who's like seen as the voracious villainess, and the idea that she likes to eat monster meat. In this world, you can technically eat monster meat. It's just, it's got toxins in it, and it's got like mana levels in it that will make you sick. It'll make you puke. And it's also seen as a taboo. The idea of eating monster meat is like gross. But people know that she eats it. And so she's got this really bad title, but she needs to get married. And so she goes to this one party that was being thrown by the Duke, and she's looking for somebody there. Everybody's gossiping about her, obviously. Eventually, she does stumble. Well, a monster attacks the party, and as she's trying to distract the monster, this Duke, which is known as the Blood Mad Duke, he shows up, cuts the thing apart, and stands before her. But she's not stunned by him. And so it kind of turns this whole thing where the two of them have like these really nasty titles given to them, and people see them horribly, and nobody will confront them. They're sort of finding something in each other because she's not scared by him standing there with blood all over himself and the fact that he just chopped up the monster. In fact, she wants to know, like, oh crap, you kill a lot of monsters. Can I get some of the meat? At the same time, he knows that she likes to eat monster meat, and he and his men are constantly out killing monsters and sometimes have to consume monsters because they've ran out of rations or whatever. So he's actually curious about the whole process that she does because he feels that if he can utilize it, that'll actually help his men. And he's kind of curious about the meat, how it tastes. So it's, again, these two individuals that all of society, see them as, nasty people, finding love in each other because they both find value in what the other person is. So, yeah, he immediately pretty much likes her and decides to snatch her up, sends a letter to her father to say, hey, I want your daughter in marriage. And her father's like, there's got to be some mistake because, we're this family out in the middle of nowhere. We're kind of a low family. There's no way that this Duke's going to want to marry you. But yeah, he ends up showing up and brings her a nice golden furred like goat that he asks her to show in the process of doing it, which is basically, yeah, she places the monster on this magic circle that her mother had pretty much crafted. And the magic circle basically will then force the bad mana and blood out of the monster. And then she basically brings that into a flask and puts that into this flask. And yeah, he even questions, like, what do you do with that stuff afterwards? Because, yeah, some countries would use it as like an explosive. There's like a massive amount of energy in that. Oh yeah, I just usually light it, light my campfires and stuff with it. I cook the food with the fire that I create from it. But yeah, she of course makes really great food. But yeah, you end up eventually finding out that the reason that she knows how to do this process is because of her mother. Sometime in the past, because the domain they live in is like in this very cold area, there's like a lack of crops a lot of times, and there's a lot of famines there, but there's an abundance of monsters. And so the mother was trying to figure out a way to sort of stave off starvations and whatnot, and by figuring out how to utilize all that monster meat. And so she created this method. And there was even times in the past where there was famines, and she literally saved like a lot of people's lives. But even if they consumed the meat to survive and they were appreciative of that, they would still not even mention the idea they consume that because it's seen as a taboo. They were kind of, when I was watching it, I'm a little bit behind, they were kind of hanging at the idea that it's like religiously it's seen as a taboo, like looked down upon. So it would never be accepted. But now, Aristide, this Mad Duke, now supporting her and them, getting married, he will thus use his power to support her as she figures out ways to utilize this meat to support their people with this food, in case stuff like that happens. So it's been good so far. Them as a couple has been cute. I do like their romance. It's progressing quickly, which is kind of appreciated. It's very quick. Like, he's like, literally, if you like me, yeah, I really like you. You're really hot and you're great. And I like, you accept me, and he wants to support her and she wants to support him. And they're just coming together really nicely. All that stuff has been playing out really well. Thankfully, like I always say, even though I'm not a big, massive foodie fan, I don't like, tons of cooking scenes and everything. Thankfully, it's not too invested in that stuff. It happens here or there, but it's not like sitting there going, first we have to chop this up, and then we make sure mix in this and mix in this and mix in this, and we gotta make it simmer it. Do this. It doesn't do that whole long process and constantly have them going and explosion noises and everything. They do find this stuff tasty, but even as a not foodie fan, it's not excessive, so that's nice. You'll get more cooking and campfire cooking in Otherworld Season 2, but it's kind of. Yeah, it's like campfire cooking. Well, campfire cooking sometimes has like at least two, sometimes 3 or 4 cooking scenes. This one may have 1 scene per like 2 episodes. So thankfully that's not too much. But it's been nice. I do find the characters charming. Not that I think that it'll probably do anything incredible. It's at least enough that I've been enjoying it. It's been a little fun little show. It's an Asahi production too, so don't expect too much visually. Saucy Asahis. What another show that you watched, Chris? Inexpressive Kashiwada and Expressive Oota. This has just been a fun one. It opens up with Kashiwada, who is, as the title leads you to believe, inexpressive, and also her classmate Oota, who, like the title says, is expressive. And the fact that Oota, upon realizing that Kashiwada is not very expressive, he made it his like goal in life to make her expressive, and he keeps constantly teasing her and punking her and pulling pranks on her, just trying to get her to do something, like jumping out of nowhere and going blah, and she goes, oof, like that, dropping a little spider down in front of her, blah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, later on we find out that the reason that Kashiwada likes Oota is the fact that he's overly expressive. So every time that she backfires on him or somehow, or she beats him at something, he just like, wah, and gets crazy about it.
I read something else, but maybe I'll talk about that when we actually get into it. I think it's more along the lines of that she likes that he includes her. It's not so much that, because they do kind of a backstory. I seem to remember they did I watched the backstory episode, and it kind of implies that she really just likes Oota more because he's not ignoring her. Yeah. He doesn't let her be ignored. Yeah. Because everybody else tends to kind of not associate with her because they don't know how to interact with her because they can't read her. Even though Sata seems really good. Was it Sata? Yeah, I think Sata knows, like, he does. It seems like he always calls out what she's thinking. Here and there he catches it. That whole episode where they were... Even Tabuchi does the same thing. She says it every once in a while, but every once in a while she misses it too. She misses, though. She claimed it, like, at some point she's like, she's thinking this. It's like, no, that wasn't it. I think even Sata gets it wrong, but they had this whole little segment where they were following him around and Oota was trying to get her, and the entire time Sata is writing them down and getting every one of them pretty much. Yeah, pretty much whenever she's vibrating like this, she's laughing. That's the main one that I know, is that whenever every once in a while she'll do the shiver, and it's because she's been spooked or surprised or something. Yeah. That's usually the dread thing. Yeah, that one is pretty obvious. Yeah, I was talking, and I think I got this impression when we first was doing the preview. It was like, this is basically a Heden-san had a kid, and her name is Kashiwada, and we're basically mixing in the whole concept of Teasing Master Takagi-san, where it's the guy constantly trying to punk the girl, but it always backfires in her face. It's just Kashiwada's not Takagi-san. It's Aheden's daughter. it's Teasing Master Takagi-san having a kid, but they end up birthing Aheren-san's daughter. That kind of thing, I guess. So what do you think of it so far? I just find it kind of sweet. I most time it's just kind of one of those, I watch an episode and I go, that was good, and then I gotta move on. Yeah, I adore it. More along the lines of it absolutely hits the teasing girl vibe. But I like I was trying to explain to Andrew earlier, this is almost like a reverse teasing girl, where it's in a lot of ways Oota is trying to get a reaction out of Kashiwada. So you're kind of all the same tropes are there. You have somebody's teasing somebody and trying to get a reaction of some sort. And that's just kind of their bind, what binds them together. And I think it absolutely is charming. I love the interplays between them. The extra characters, lucky enough, they're not coming off as annoying.
I thought Tabuchi
is
was
about
going. She was borderline for me for a while there because she's kind of mean. She's kind of annoying me. I mean, there's a protective side of it, but it's kind of always, there's a protective side that I kind of like about it because she doesn't like what Ota's doing. But then it quickly turned into just kind of, she's obsessive herself. And it's like, okay, a little bit much. I like Sata, though. I was telling Chris that Sata reminds me of, what was the show that I was talking about earlier? I can never think of the title whenever I need to think about it. Wants to hang out. What's her name wants to hang out? Uzaki-chan wants to hang out.
Uzaki-chan, yeah.
She's like the girl or Sata is like the girl at the cafe that she works at. The one with their father, obviously. They're always over there doing the whole cooking thing. Like they want to see this romance cook up. They're constantly on the sideline going, I want to see where this goes. Want to meddle a little bit to kind of get the two of them to kind of come together. It's that whole thing. But yeah. I think the only part that I didn't like for Ota, like it kind of ruined him for a character for me, was the pool scene. Most deserved pay, or it was a not a payback. It's the whole like karma thing. Like the fact that he let Kashiwada go when she was trusting him and he was helping her learn how to swim. The moment he let her go, I'm like, oh, you're a dirtbag. As she grabbed his shorts and stretched him, like, you deserve it, you prick. That's a trust thing. That was a trust thing. And you let that trust go by letting go of her. She did not know how to swim. Deserved, but he corrects it by jumping in there after her later on. It's like, whatever. And then yeah, he losing his chunks all together. That was good stuff. I actually like the pool scene. But yeah, again, like I said earlier, it's like one of those shows where like I enjoy it as I'm watching it, but at the same time it does sort of have a repetitiveness to it.
Yeah, it does.
Like it's got a narrative that it wants to kind of keep pushing forward, but it's just kind of, what is Ota gonna do to get a reaction out of Kashiwada this time? And sometimes they'll mix in a new character and they'll have maybe some other story or a misreading something, like the whole situation with the hairband and it going out the window and them thinking that Kashiwada was upset about the loss of her heirloom from her grandmother. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I think even if she lost her heirloom, she would not hate Ota. It turned into a cute little thing. It turned into a cute thing in the end. Even though Tabuchi was left out in the storm at night looking for the damn thing because she didn't know they found it. That was a good punchline at the end because she finds out the grandmother is actually still alive and she's like, I just found that at a grocery store. I'm surprised you still have it, Kashiwada. And then, her name. And then, yeah, he's all embarrassed and leaves. Then it cuts over to Tabuchi, and she's still out in the storm looking for it. It was dorky. I dropped my phone. I'm not looking for a hairband. I dropped my phone. Shut up. Yeah, good boys, though. Sata and Todoroki are actually really good boys.
Yeah.
He's got some good friends. They go out there. They actually found it for him.
It's like I said, it's genuinely just a fun teasing girl. It's not even really, I mean, especially after we've already hit, I'm assuming most all of the big names as far as the teasing girls. I don't know that we could find much. This one ended up being quite a little gem.
Yeah. Inexpressive Kashiwada and Expressive Oota. You watched a little bit of my GIF level. This is the funny one because I don't think I ever actually mentioned this to Chris, and I just knew he was going to watch it. my GIF level 99 limited gotcha. I'm going to do the full title. Where was the full title? Do I have the full title here? I don't. I have the Japanese full title. My gift level 999 unlimited gotcha. Backstabbed in a backwater dungeon. I'm out for revenge. Yeah, I dropped this one pretty quickly, and I plan on getting back to it. I never have. I've pretty much got like 2.5 episodes into it. But yeah, this one opens up with a guy who he leaves his home in order to become an adventurer because he wants to support his family, And upon arriving at the big city, he realizes the unfortunate thing about this world and the fact that there's like different races and humans are like at the bottom of it. So there's a lot of discrimination, and thus everybody sees humans as basically insects. And then he's mistreated like a bunch, and then suddenly this group shows up out of nowhere and claims that they're like this group about like
bringing the races together.
Yeah, they're trying to unite all the races together. That's their goal as their guild. And so they needed a human. And so, Light, you have been chosen. Join us. And he's like, oh, wow. And then he starts to go to dungeon with them, and they like show him the ropes, and there's like all these little cuts of them doing all these different things together for this long period of time before finally they go to this one dungeon together, and they're just all buddy until they reach this one point, at which point they all go, we can finally stop doing this whole act, and oh god, this disgusting human, and my gosh, yeah, we were dragging you here so that we can get rid of you, because the only reason that they were actually like bringing him into their group, and they're monitoring him basically. They were monitoring him because he's got this ability called the Unlimited Gotcha. But he's always seen it as useless. Like every time he rolls the gotcha, it gives him like a rotten banana or a broken spoon or just the most random garbage. And so they were trying to monitor him to make sure that he wasn't like one of these, what they call them?
I don't remember.
They bring it up a couple times later on. Like this, there's like these people with like extremely hidden talents that are massively OP. And so they were expecting that possibly he was going to have some hidden OP-ness in that ability. But it's not. They discovered after a while that it wasn't the case, so they're now ready to discard him into this dungeon, which made me kind of question, why were you acting all buddy-buddy with him all the way down the dungeon when you were planning on getting rid of him anyways? Whatever. So yeah, they try to kill him. They ditch him. He gets like steps on a teleporter that takes him to the lowest point of this dungeon, and there he's about to be killed by some monster before he randomly decides to roll the gotcha one more time, and he summons a level 99 maid that looks like Hestia because it's done by JC Staff, which does Danmachi. Hestia shows up with big boobs and destroys the monster before like pretty much offering to kill all those party members for him, but he says, no, I'm going to get stronger and basically get revenge with my own hands, despite the fact that he has a level 9999 being that could basically one-shot everybody. He wants to do it himself. So he finds out at that point, she does a examination on him to find out the details about his ability. And this maid discovers that the way that his gotcha ability works is that it's based on, the rates are based on the level of mana that's around him. And since he's at the lowest point of like one of the toughest dungeons out there, the mana levels are high, and that's why he was able to have a high success rate of an OP character. So he proceeds to gotcha over and over again and creates basically like an entire like kingdom at the base of this labyrinth of like max level guardians and everything, and builds a society down there and everything, and starts to train himself to, well, one day he can go back up to the surface and get his revenge. So, and so far what I've seen is he tracks down the wolf guy, and even though he said he was going to exact revenge on himself, his maids and everybody kills all of his party members before he brings the wolf guy to his civilization, and the guy goes, oh, and doesn't die. I was getting frustrated because I'm like, I swear they're not going to kill off any of these guys or have him actually kill anybody. But I'm assuming eventually he does. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I didn't see any of the civilization stuff. So
you watched one episode.
Yeah, I watched one episode. I seen the maid tell him that his power was super based on however
super based on.
Yeah, it was super based on the mana because he couldn't use the power anywhere else. It had to be in the deepest, darkest dungeon part of everything. So
it makes sense why it didn't do much when he was in the guild, because where's least amount of mana in the guild. Sorry, it was a stupid joke.
But yeah, I was generally fine with it. It was going for it felt like it was going for the edgelord thing right away. So when we got to, he brought the maid and he says, oh no, I have to do it myself. That was like, okay, well, we'll see how far that goes.
We'll see. Yeah, like I said, nobody has to leave comments about this or anything, but like the thing that was turning me off about it was that I think because he brought the wolf up there, which is, it's one of those things of like a fate worse than death, is literally this guy that looked down upon light, seeing light basically potentially conquer the world. That's where I'm assuming it's going to go, is the idea of him basically rising this kingdom up into the clouds and him just floating around in different areas and is exacting his revenge. And what's the best way to get his revenge is to not just splatter the guy, but to show him where he is now literally like the supreme. This person that he once thought was less than him is now above him and powerful and everything. I'm assuming that direction is going. But the frustration I have is how much it's like so emphasized in that first episode. Oh, I'm going to kill them with my own hands. I will not rest until I murder every single one of them. And the moment that he has them in front of him, he doesn't even touch them. Like he's not doing anything. His maid's splattering all the guys that are attacking him. He's just like not doing anything to the guy that he literally claimed he was going to kill. Maybe again, next episode, suddenly he finally decides to cut the guy's head off. I don't know. But I just don't see it happening. I feel like this is like one of those edgelord things where they don't actually do anything. Again, they could do it in the next episode, and I just don't know it yet. So, but that was what was frustrating me. Like, it just made me not want to watch the show anymore. I'm like, you're not killing him. You said you're going to kill him. You're not killing him. Anyways, I don't know if I'll go back to it. It's just not really been working that well for me. I just have a fatigue for the whole discard in the dungeon thing. And I think the whole thing with him, like, the thing that was really bugging me was, like, again, when they first was going down the dungeon, and again, they've established that he's been hanging out with them. Like, one of the guys, like, has him coming to his blacksmith, and he was showing him how to do blacksmithing. They were going to a lot of dungeons together, and this was finally the moment that they were going to go to this one really tough dungeon with him. And the assumption there is that the guild has decided before they went in the dungeon that they don't think he has this ability, so they tell them, take Light, take him into the dungeon, find somewhere in there, and just leave him behind, and he'll die in the dungeon. And so they proceed from that point to bring Light down in this dungeon. Along the way, one of them, I think it was Sasha, one of them, this elf, she claims at the very end she was going to have to, like, marry him to keep him locked down. And she thought that idea was disgusting. That if he did turn out to be one of these, you know, prestigious, skilled persons, she was going to have to, like, wed him and lock him down. And so she was constantly flirting with him in order to kind of produce a romantic connection. And she found it disgusting. Well, if you're planning on getting rid of him in the dungeon, why on the way down were you still flirting with him? And everybody's sitting there, like, you know, going, haha, Sasha, you too. And they were, like, all joking around and being buddy-buddy. You would think they would all have, like, this kind of, like, okay, let's get this done. You know, being very, like, let's get to the where we need to go and not continue to do that stuff. Again, it's like a whole thing, like, trying to build up to this whole, like, shock moment of them betraying him at this one moment out of nowhere. And suddenly they're all, like, lighting up cigarettes and going, oh, gosh, I can't believe we had to do that again. Oh, God, that was disgusting. It's just so cheesy. It's so cheesy. I mean, there is a chance that they were going to the dungeon anyways, and they got a communication sent to them while they were in the dungeon that said, no, we decided to get rid of him. I don't know. It was just dumb. It was just dumb.
Maybe they were expecting him to randomly...
Maybe he finally awakens after they made a decision to kill him. Who knows? I mean, they were close. If they just had him do a gotcha while they were in that dungeon, it's supposedly like one of the most powerful dungeons down there, and they could have possibly awakened him. They had to go through the teleporter first, though. Anyways, that's that show. I do like a lot of the cast, though. Like, you had, like, the cat girl, which is, like, I think, like, a beast tamer one. You have Ellie, who's, like, I think she's, like, a mage or something like that. Nazuna is, like, a fail guardian. She's cute. No, that was a funny... This is one of those, like, fail translations things. So, Nazuna, which, again, is, like, the guardian one, she's kind of, like, such a failure that she's just been assigned to just walk the grounds. Like, they don't give her anything difficult to do because she's kind of dumb. So they just have her just walk the grounds. Walk around the building and check everything. She
was a bad gotcha?
No, it's just that she's I guess all of her stats are not in intellect. Let's just say that. Her stats aren't in intellect. So they don't really ascend or anything, but just walk the grounds. And she's walking around.
So she is very powerful, just dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like a saber character. She's just a big knight character. At some point she's walking the palace and she stumbles across there's like 5 maids. And these maids hate Mei, which Mei is, of course, the first gotcha that he pulled, which is this maid-like chick that looks like Hestia. They don't like her because Mei, who in their hierarchy has been assigned as the head maid, she gets dibs on taking care of Light's bedroom. And it seems like it's no secret to everybody that she goes in there and sniffs his sheets. But they're mad because she always claims that duty, and they want to have their turn to take care of Light's bedroom. And so, anyways, Nazuna's walking around. They're trying to butter her up when she first confronts them. And she's like, yeah, I've been doing my rounds or something like that. And each one of them takes turns going, well, great job, Nazuna. You're doing a swell job. Great stuff. And how'd it go? It goes, one of them says, Sasuga Nazuna. One of them says, Sasu Nazuna. It's basically they shorten it. One of them says the Japanese word, but they shorten it a little bit. And the way they translate it was, great job, Nazuna. You slay, girl. That was another, that's not the fault of the show, by the way. That's the localizer. It's just, again, that's just one of those moments where I just don't want to watch this show right now. The last thing I ever wanted to see in a translation is you slay. I'm like, anyway, I'm not gonna get. I was gonna say something. I don't want to go in there. But it's just. It was just. Say, like, again. I get what
if it's good, great job. Make it good job.
Yeah,
do something like that.
Or, yeah, I was thinking of like another way of shortening, because that's literally all it's doing. Is it's just they're shortening it. That's all they're doing. They're not saying slay, girl. It's anyways. That was like immediately screenshot. You're going into my folder that I'm slowly compiling of really crappy translations. High Dive, every now and then there's somebody at High Dive that just, they think they're clever, and it's like, stop. Whoever at High Dive, whatever translator they're using at High Dive, every now and then one pops up where it's like, stop. It's not funny. Anyways, that was, like I said earlier, a phrase I never really expected, never want to see once again, ever again in my animus. Not that I have a problem with the phrase slay. It's just, again, it's slay queen. It's just not in anime. It's just not a term there. Let's move on. That made me mad. A Wild Last Boss, Chris. Aside from Tojima wants to be a Kamen writer, this is probably the other one that has kind of been a big shocker for me and how much I'm enjoying it. But Wild Last Boss starts off with a guy that was playing an MMORPG, and he created this character known as Lufus, who is, over time, this game, this MMORPG, is sort of a conquering-based type of MMO, where you can actually create kingdoms, and you can actually conquer other kingdoms in order to claim their lands. And him, as his character Lufus, like, became very powerful and led an entire kingdom to essentially take over and conquer the entire lands. But at that point, when he conquered everything, he's like, this is kind of probably not fun for anybody in the game. So he decides to, like, offline with some of these people that he's played the game with, offline worked with some other individuals to sort of set up where his companions, these heroes, will betray him and rise up and defeat him. And they sure enough do that. They defeat his character, and at that point, he's like, wow, that was a lot of fun. That was a cool little scenario we did there. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Like, he's planning on pretty much quitting the game. Like, it was great. But then he gets a message from the game, seemingly, and he assumes it's the admins saying, do you want to try some other thing or something like that? And he says, yeah, sure. Maybe they're trying to get my character is literally more popular and more interesting than literally the demon lord of the game. Like, there is a demon lord in the world, but everybody's been focused on Lufus, the Conqueror, his character. So maybe they want to, talk with me or something. So he agrees to it, and immediately he gets transported into the world, and he's summoned into the world, into the body of the Conqueror, which is the character that he played, which is Lufus. So yeah, he's female, which is a little bit off-putting and interesting. But yeah, immediately he discovers that the reason that the humans of this world, specifically an elf, use the ability, The reason why they were summoned into this kingdom was that they're facing the demon lord and they need somebody to come in and be the hero to protect them. And he's like, and they're now terrified because they're literally standing in front of the conqueror that was supposed to be dead. Like they feel like they unsealed him from death. And so they're all terrified. His aura, like his passive skilled aura is just terrifying them. But he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not here to conquer you guys. Peace out. And he leaves. And this turns this whole thing where he's like, well, I've always loved the lore of the game that I played, X-Gate Online. Now I could actually experience it. I don't know why I'm here, but cool, let's check it out. Let me experience it firsthand, and I'll figure out how to get out of this world later on. Maybe I'll figure out how to get out of the game later. So he goes back to his base, where, you know, the Conqueror, his base was at, where all of his NPCs were. None of them were there except for one, Dina. This background character that he doesn't even recognize. He's like, Dina's like, yeah, I was, you know, your throne room. I was that one character NPC that was, you know, in this corner right here. You just never noticed me before because I guess I didn't have that much presence. But it really upsets me, and she starts crying or whatever. Like, that's fine. I just forgot about you. But Dina kind of gets her updated on the whole situation. And what kind of comes from this is that they decide to gather the 12 heavenly stars, which is like the 12 generals that were like NPCs under Luffus. So he's going around the world trying to find them. At the same time, he wants to go find all the remaining heroes that are still in the world because 200 years has passed. And apparently 3 of the 7 heroes are still alive. And so he wants to go see if he can find those 3 heroes and find out if they're human too. Because he's human, maybe they're human. And so he's traveling around. He ends up finding out that over those 200 years, what sort of happened was after the 7 heroes defeated Luffus, they then started creating their own countries. No, they then went to go fight the Demon Lord. But then the Demon Lord defeated them and placed a curse on them having their stats. So while they used to be like max stat, max level, which was 1,000, they're now at level 500. And now, you know, being defeated, they go back and they create their own kingdoms and just trying to exist. And in the meantime, the devil folk have pretty much taken over the entire world. Like humankind's like at this little small island in the corner here. They're not doing well. And so there's also a lot of people that believe that they hate the humans, or they hate the heroes now because Luffus was, you know, liberating everybody and was doing very well and actually took care of their people. And so now they all kind of hate the heroes. But yeah, that's basically the opening gist of it so far. And Dina's sus.
Is she?
Super sus. Dina is super sus. How many episodes have you watched?
I think that she's just kind of more of a background comedy character. I don't think she's really done much of anything. I mean, Eris was more interesting than she was.
Adiez. I hate how that's pronounced. It drives me because I'm actually covering this show on a weekly basis, and it's like every time I want to say Ares' name, I want to say Ares, but it's like, but then when I'm listening to the show, they're saying Adius, and it's like, God, it drives me nuts. I want to say one thing, but then I want to say what the Japanese say, and it's back and forth. No, Dina's super sus. That's been kind of an ongoing joke that I've had. How many episodes you watched so far?
She just finished catching Eris.
You mean they Luffus pet Eris in the head, and Eris got defeated?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a long petting process.
Process. The belly, the nose. It's cute. And then they turned out to be an otokonoko.
Yes. Very.
The last bit there was like,
that last scene was great.
How do you usually design them? One of them was saying that like they only did like the upper half of design or something like that, and then one of them's like, you know what's in right now is otokonoko. So yeah, that's sure enough. No, I've been actually, like I said before, I was very pleasantly surprised by this show because I think the first episode impressions is like, oh, it's female overlord. It's literally the guy that, you know, gets transported into the body of his character, and they're this big great conqueror, and you have like that whole element of like the personality of the person themselves is there. They're this evil being, but in actuality inside they're like a normal person. And then like the whole idea of, you know, everybody fearing them and the possibility of them being seen as a bad person. But very quickly, I think the moment that he gets to Megreze's place, it's like, no, it's not. I mean, very quickly in the first episode, it's not really that. I think the thing that I've been enjoying the most is twofold. I love the idea of kind of that moment that he's in the library and they realize that, Lufus wasn't the bad guy that you would assume that he is. There is this element of at some point realizing this isn't X-Gate. At some point realizing I don't think this is a video game. I think this is an actual world that has sort of manifested, maybe possibly from the game, or potentially when they were playing the game, they were controlling the characters of another world. Either way, there is a question now that he has of, I'm having memories being injected into me that I don't remember. I wonder what happened to Lufus. If my soul is inside of Lufus, where is Lufus at? And then, like I said before, the thing that has been sort of, it becomes sort of a joke at this point with every single one of my videos is, what is Dina doing in this whole scenario? Because early on, Dina, again, is represented as being this NPC background character that nobody knew was there, but she was always standing there. All of his commanders in this, the 12 heavenlies, they're all NPCs. He describes as the 12 heavenly stars are very rare NPC spawns that you could capture and recruit. And like Audius is basically this really, really rare sheep that would spawn.
Rainbow sheep.
Yeah, a little rainbow sheep that was extremely weak. Like monsters would come over and one-shot immediately. And he finds it and kind of says, hey, these things beat you up. Why don't you fight back? And it's like, it's weak and it's cowering. And it's like, fight more. And then eventually it bites Lufus and says, perfect. Exactly. Come with me. Let's make you stronger. And surely enough, over time, Audius has become this very powerful Otokonoko. But anyways, so it implies that Dina...
Still a crybaby.
Yeah, still a crybaby. So it implies that Dina is this NPC that was just sitting in the background that he doesn't even recognize. But then the moment that Audius sees Dina, says the same exact thing. I don't remember you. But it always seems like Dina always says, wait, you don't remember me? I was in the background. And suddenly they go, yeah, I guess, yeah, you may have been under that corner. Maybe I guess I just overlooked you. Didn't have much presence. Moment that Libra said it too. And didn't have a moment of, oh, now you say, yeah, I guess you could. What is Libra? A golem. What did Dina say that she could do? She could teleport things, and she could manipulate memories. She can basically make people believe something, or she basically can rewrite people's memories. Like, she could literally rewrite what people believe. Like, when they went to get Libra, she rewrote all the heroes that went with them to believe that they conquered the grave so that Lufus and them can leave without getting attention. She literally rewrote like all these party members to have some fictitious memory that they conquered the grave that nobody else has been able to conquer because Libra was there. I think as she's meeting all these individuals, she's inserting this little bit of like, yeah, you remember I was in that corner over there. Oh yeah, I guess you were kind of there. But Libra didn't. Libra was the only one that she wasn't able to do that to because she's a golem. Instead, Libra just said, well, I do have sort of this little database area here that's kind of corrupted, but I'll work on fixing that. And I'm assuming eventually that whenever Libra does fix that little bit of database, she's going to eventually go, I fixed it and Dina's not there. Dina has never been in that tower before. My memory has everything that got on in there. None of it was Dina. But yes, eventually we do end up running into another girl that's hanging out with the devil folk, and she basically has the same hairstyle and eye color, just gold hair. I'm assuming that's probably her working for the devil folk. I'm at this point where I'm kind of just wondering, it could be that Dina is a split personality, but she could also be this other Venus individual. She does look a lot like Aloe Venus that is at the cover of X-Gate's login screen. Like when he got that prompt when he's on the game, a blue-haired chick is literally standing there that looks like Dina. So I'd assume that she's probably Aloe Venus. The question mark still is, why is she doing this? Like, what is her goal is really in the end? The fact that she's working for the devil folk, my assumption is that Dina is trying to force Lufus to take action.
If it's supposed to be Diana, it might be Venus. You'd have to look it up. I think Diana is another name for one of the goddesses. So,
well, the other chick that's working for the devil folk has gold hair, same eye color, same hairstyle. Her name is Venus. The goddess of X-Gate is called Aloe Venus. So it's pretty obvious in that regard. But again, the question mark is, why is she potentially working as a double agent? The Devil Folk aren't that strong. They point out that like Mars was 300. They're all like level 300. Lufus is max level. He literally like batted Mars away. None of the Devil Folk were a threat to him. But yet, why is she working for the Devil Folk? My assumption is that when Lufus first came there, he claimed that, you know, this is cool. I'm just going to explore the world and, you know, get to see it all firsthand, and then I'll figure out a way to get home. He doesn't care to be there. I almost feel like Aloe Venus brought Lufus to the world, realized that he's not planning on helping reclaim the world, and she probably brought him there to fix the fact that the humans are like losing horribly, and is using Lufus to reconquer the world, but knows full well he's not going to actually do it. He's just exploring. So I think I think Alavina is trying to force like conflict in front of Lufus so that he finally has to take action and become the conqueror again. I think she's trying to get him to see horrific things in front of him and finally take action. That's my current theory. But that's all for me to say. That's why I'm liking this show so much. Like, there is really cool stuff in here that I'm actually really enjoying. Getting into Audius and Agokeros, sort of hinting at the idea of these 12 heavenly stars being pretty much like royally pissed at the heroes and wants them all dead, and how like fickle that like control that could possibly be there. Like, any moment Audius would want to like level the city. He's just not doing it because he knows that Lufus doesn't want that to happen. But Agokeros over here is going, I'll do it. There's like this conflict of like this. Basically, Lufus doesn't have like full control over these individuals. They have a desire of their own, and they do want to level this stuff to get like full on revenge for Lufus, because they still all feel like the heroes killed Lufus. They experienced that loss. They spent 200 years living in grief that their champion was killed. So that hasn't like disappeared overnight. But yeah, it's been really good. And yeah, Dina being sus has always been great too. Again, like every single week, Dina's super sus. Dina's super sus. What is Dina doing? Anyways, been enjoyed it. Are you gonna be watching any more of it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I was enjoying it.
Yeah. It looks okay. Visually, it looks okay. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's been good. It's been good. I guess we'll call it there, unless you want to talk a little bit really quickly about Dusk Beyond the End of the World. Are you enjoying it at least?
I only seen him die and then come back as a whiny protagonist who has to be saved by a robot girl.
Whiny protagonist? They have guns, Chris. What do you want him to do? Punch, shoot him? Poof. Kill him. Got him. No, I was telling Chris, like,
sis.
I think episode 0 is a solid like startup. Like, I did like that. It made me believe why this guy is so dead set on being faithful to his wife, his fiance, because literally going into the next episode, he's got this hot android that literally is like, I have the equipment, we can do it right now. And he's like, no, whoa, I can't do that. I'm married. I just gotta find my wife. They did a good job of establishing that relationship, but like, it hasn't really done much. Like, he's just traveling around trying to find her, and it's getting into the idea that it seems like obviously this new world that's post like this fallout that happened with the AI has basically restricted knowledge and information, and so now he's trying to find any information that he can just to find his girl. And it's just been traveling around and exploring that world. I do really like the character designs, though. My gosh, I love the character designs. Like, especially like the OP, it shows like all the, what I'm assuming is like, my assumption that happened is like the moment that he died, or at least he was going to die, she cryo-sleeped him because he's so badly injured, and then proceeded to like develop technology. And at some point, the competition probably screwed her over, and this whole massive war happened. But I think during that process, she literally, I think she created like a lineup of like hot waifu robots that all look like her in some way, but all have like different characteristics. And so this world is not this new world that he is now woken up to. I'm assuming she's not going to be there unless she's frozen somewhere, maybe like really old or something like that. She's going to be at least older. But even if she's not around, she left behind a harem of waifus, which is great because they don't have the concept of marriage in this world anymore. They have Elsies.
Yeah, that's true. They were doing an entire explanation of marriage is now harem.
Well, it's like a twofold thing where it's like the moment that they bring up Elsies, they're like, marriage? What is this? Is that a marriage? What's a marriage? No, this is called Elsie. And it's basically the concept is that just everybody comes together as a partnership. It does nothing to do with, gender. It's nothing to do with like husband, wife or anything. It's just you make a family. No matter ages and everything like that, you're just making a home. That's all it is. Really, it is what it is. But that was like the flag. But yeah, it was funny that later on Yuguri just basically saying, let's get married. And it's like, well, there's obviously a reason why she's the only person in this entire world that even knows what marriage even means. Because again, everybody else, when you say marriage, they're like, what is a marriage? What is that? Yes, she does. Obviously, she was sent to marry him, which I'm guessing I'm guessing Yuguri specifically is going to be the AI that was talking to Toasa in the episode 0. She's the AI that she was working alongside because it seemed like that AI liked her. But can we at least give some mad credits to PA Works, by the way, for that 0 episode?
It was pretty nice.
What Toasa did in her bedroom, you don't see that often. The willingness to show the girl kind of got a little bit. She had to blow off some steam. She was looking at all the pictures of her brother. She had to turn off the AI, give me a moment, and then it cuts to her washing her hands. I'm like, damn, that's a little. I appreciate to showing that sometimes a lady's gonna have a moment too. Anyways, I thought that was kind of cool. Anyways, I think that's all the ones I want to talk about. I am still watching Sanda. I'm hoping that one kind of picks up. It's a very unique story, but at the same time, I feel like it spins its wheels a lot. But other than that, we got to wrap up. So we got to get some questions done before we wrap up. Let's look at our community on the Discord, which, by the way, for anybody that is on the Discord, we are currently doing our Anime of the Year stuff. So we're currently starting off with winter, as always. So if you have the Discord muted, you're missing all of the notifications from Ida because he's already fired that up. So get over there and vote. Do your nominations and everything. But yes, on the Discord, we also have submit questions, which people are slacking horribly on because I just see right here, we only have 4 questions. Bad people. I got to disable this in order to see who's talking. Like Aldrozu says, from the early 1960s all the way to the present 2020s, what would you consider to be the best era of anime, both objectively and or personally, in your opinion? Would you say that anime today in modern times is overall better now with how much source material is being adapted than it was back then? Or do you consider the good old days to be more enjoyable when it was less popular globally?
He wants us to
loaded.
He wants us to say we like the golden age of anime.
Well, I mean, we've said it. I personally have said it several times that I don't fall in that category of it's the golden age of 90s things. But there's 2 things in this statement here. One is asking which era, I guess you're talking about decades of anime, I guess, like the 1990s, the 2010s, the 20-teens, and then 2020s. Which one of those is better? And the other question is really, I think more, do you think it's better now with how much is being made? It's sort of a twofold here because again, like I said, I'm not a 90s snob. I think there's some incredible legendary anime that were made in the 90s, but I have the perspective of acknowledging that usually when you see somebody say the incredible 90s, they're talking about 5 shows amongst a bunch of crap. just like any other year or any other span of 10 years, there's like 5 incredible shows that are legendary that you're always going to look back on. Like, I'll always look back on Shogun Roku Shinju very, very fondly, but I'll acknowledge that there was a lot of other shows in that like span of time that was crap. I'll never believe that there was something special about 90s. There is uniqueness about the 90s, and that is sort of what was lost as we went into the 2000s, which is hand-drawn animation, massive budgets, animators, you know, just killing themselves over making incredible cel-shaded arts, panel by panel. That is a lost art that's unfortunate there, but overall, again, you have some legends in there. Ghost in the Shell, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, that kind of stuff is incredible, but I'll never claim that unique in any ways. I think 90s is incredible. I think anything before the 90s, I think there is a few out there, like, you know, the birth of things like, you know, Gundam and a bunch of things that are very sort of, was sort of sparked a lot of other creations. There's a lot of inspiration that was built from there, a lot of foundation that was built way back in the 80s and the 70s and so far. But for me personally, like, I don't have a lot of standoutish that really kind of stick with me as like, you want to go back to it on a regular basis, except for things like Akira. A lot of the stuff back in the day and that era was great at the time.
Well, I think it's more
but looking back on it now, it's like the pacing sucks. Like, it's not something I enjoy going back to on a regular basis.
I think we've talked about it, how things have just sifted up. And it's not so much that there was anything special about that particular era. It's just that it's all been weeded through. We already know which ones are the greats out of that time frame. It's if I was to, I mean, I love the fact that we're getting some of the going back to the old stuff currently going on right now. But I really did love the 2010s. That doesn't necessarily mean discount any of the other ones, because the 2000s was really fantastic. There's a lot of good stuff up in that era as well. But just the sheer numbers per season is just overwhelming right now. It's not so much that it's bad, it's just the numbers are overwhelming.
So what I'll say is, like, I think in accordance to like a percentage of what's actually being made total, I think there's still a consistent amount of treasures that come from it. Mm-hmm. So what you see is sort of, you know, like from the 90s, you'll have like, say, 5 shows in a span of 3 months. You'll have like 4 shows in that span, and then maybe one show that's going to be good, and the rest is going to be like okay. But as you get further into, you know, the 2010s and whatnot, you start to get into that, you know, expansion from 30 to 60, and now we're at 80 shows per season, but you're still getting like a pretty solid amount being made that's actually really good. I think the only problem that we sort of seen going out of like the 90s was that we had a lot of original content, and I think that's sort of what is unique about anything pre, you know, 90s and back. You had a lot of very original content that was built around the format it was in. So you had a lot of OVAs that were very short term. It was quick to the point. This is the story we want to tell. We don't hold anything back, and they're very expressive. Then as you go out of the 90s, you see a lot of stuff is turning into adaptations. So now most of the shows that you're seeing per season is there's a source material that's based off of, and in a lot of cases they're just kind of giving you a brief, you know, PV for it. Here's one season of this new manga that's coming out, and we hope you'll buy it. So it turned into like a lot of the stuff that was being invested into being adapted was just advertisements for the source material, because a lot of these companies were seeing that as a great way to advertise their publishing work that, you know, makes them a lot of money. And I think there was a nasty moment in there, which I really do think is around like the 2000s, like the 2015s, or around there, that point, where it felt like every show was just a tease. It was source material bait. And I hate that period of time, because it felt like we were getting a bunch of starts of stories and never really anything beyond that. You had to go to the source material. And I think at some point it started to stop doing that. I think it was around 2016 or so, which was kind of nice. And beyond then until now, it seems like we're now starting to see that anime is so like lucrative that they're now seeing there's a point to continuing adapting it, and now they want to actually invest in the adaptation and build on it and turn it into multiple seasons of a show, like a ReZero or Mushoku Tensei or something like that. So I do think, like, right where we're at right now, while I think that we're obviously spreading our resources way too thin and too much stuff is getting adapted poorly, I do think it's a healthy time, because I do feel like the shows that are important, that do have solid foundation, are actually being built on as anime and not just turning into source material bait. So it's like a give and take. I can't really say that any particular generation of the flow of the buildup of anime is better than another, because I think they all equally have their own gems there and their own value and what makes them special. Whether it be, again, pre-2000s, where it was like the art of it that's beautiful, and the OVAs and whatnot, the single shot OVAs that were specifically made for animation and not adaptations, going into the age of adaptations, but it being bad because it's source material bait, to going into now they're building on the foundations of anime, and now there's a lot of stuff being made, but now we're getting too much stuff, and a lot of it's spreading the industry so thin it's going to collapse eventually. Every generation has its own thing. But at the end of the day, I like where we're going. I like where we're going. I just hope that we kind of pull the reins back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like if I had my way, if I could like stand up onto the podium and go, anime, thou shalt this, it would probably be dial it the F back and support your creators. You're going to lose what you have right now. That would be my decree. You're doing good. Just pull back the reins a little bit. I do like having so many shows though, because see, back in the day, it was like in a season you had like 4 shonen shows and not really much else. And then nowadays, I hate that everybody goes, there's too many shows, and I hate all these shows, because it's like, we don't realize that there's such a mixture of shows.
Yeah.
Like this season, we talked about in this podcast several different genres. We talked about teasing girls. We talked about the Dotaru that wants to make a family. It's a very wholesome family story. We talked about a death game on a spaceship. We talked about a teasing girl, a teasing boy. We talked, like the span of what we just talked about was huge. And I think that's what the great thing, like this season we didn't even talk about it, but we have the, With You and Me, Our Level Maker, whatever, the Doggo show. We have like a thirsty shoujo show about some hot dog dude that gets huffy and puffy and tackles down the girl and forces himself upon her and licks her and does inappropriate things with her. And it's thirsty as hell for girls and guys that like that. It makes me question things. I'm sorry. It's like there's something for everybody. So there is a value to so many shows, but there is the negative is that can't watch it all. It feels like it's all dying. It's like they're producing a bunch of stuff and it's just falling into the void that nobody's watching. That's the sad. That's always been our problem, is like so many good shows, but I don't think anybody can watch them. Summer's example. There was so many good shows in summer, and I'm like, but nobody can watch it all. So the hope was that if fall sucks, y'all go back to the summer because there's a bunch of good shows there. Which is why I'm happy that ReZero is going in spring. I mentioned that before. I'm going to mention it again. Thank you for being in spring and not winter, because winter looks nuts. What are we looking at winter right now? I forgot. There was another show that got announced there recently, and I forget what it was. Jujutsu Kaisen's coming back. Frierin's coming back. Hell's Paradise. Oshinoko. Apparently Fate Strange Fake, if that even happens. There was a convention announcement, I think. I never found a confirmation, but there was a convention that was coming up that they're going to show the first 4 episodes in English dub. It's happening again. Watch January 3rd, Fate Strange Fake. They will air 4 freaking episodes and then they'll freaking stop. Mark my words, people. Anyways, Fire Force is coming back. What'd they call over here? The Mato Soy no Slave. That season 2 is coming in. Trigun Stargraze is coming back. Golden Kamuy is coming back. Medalist is coming back. My gosh, I can't wait for that to come back. I gotta remember how to say this, because I'm gonna Torture Princess is coming back. I'm triggering people right now. For those that don't know, 'Tis Time for Torture Princess is coming back for season 2, not Torture Princess. I gotta trigger some people. Like I said, there's just more. It's crazy, dude. Anyways, that's it though. I think we'll call it there, unless you have anything else to talk about before we wrap it up. I guess it's good that we spent so much time on that single question because everybody else is bad for not leaving questions. We got 3 more questions. But anyways, we thank you guys for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed this little run through of the fall anime season. We will come back for the next episode. Should be previews, right? Yeah, we'll be going into the previews next. So we'll be looking at the winter season that I just literally start talking about. So if you want a full breakdown of that, we'll do a full breakdown of that season there. But until then, we greatly appreciate you guys' support, all that stuff, through Patreon, all that kind of stuff. We'll go to otakuspirit.com. That's where all of our links are there in order to do that. Thank you. But until next time, take care.
Os.